Well, what's the motherfucking deal, man? Welcome to the Den. If you're not familiar with the Den, it's the best conversation on the entire goddamn internet. I stand by that. I put my name on that because of all the wonderful people, like you, whoever you may be, wherever you may be, who come to the Den and, just participate in the conversation, share your thoughts, all the many backgrounds and beliefs that we all come from, but that we can find common ground and, share thoughts, ideas, and all of those other good things, man. But again, like I said, I'm your host, Ed Honcho, man. It's my honor. It really is a privilege to be here. Most of all, it is my pleasure. I was going to apologize for yesterday. Man, just got a crazy call. So, man, I've been telling you, I isolated myself a while back, and then I'm just kind of recently starting to see the impact. Not the impact, but I guess everything that I've been missing. I don't even know if you want to call it missing necessarily, but things that have been going on. I don't even want to call it absence because I guess absence would be you're expected to return. So I don't have any intentions of that. So just things I guess that have been going on. With people I used to kick it with and stuff like that. But some crazy shit. Some real crazy shit. So I apologize, about yesterday. And then I know getting into the Discord late to share that VIP message video. But yeah, man, it's a crazy world. I guess you don't think about things like that, till certain things get, I guess, to people maybe, and it's a little bit different. Sticky, what's the motherfucking deal? Appreciate the love, man. But let's see, we got joining us, and let's talk about it. Shout out to John, my favorite New Yorker, Miss Bell. Hope all is well. Kenneth, honorable mention Kenneth in the building. Hey, you can't be first place every time. Sometimes you can't be second or third, but hey, you can always be. You can always be honorable mention. But appreciate that love. Thank you for becoming a member. Sticky Northside, hope all is well. Let me see. Sweetberry is here. Footballer 503 is here. Yeah, I don't know, man. Like I said, I don't know what's been going on. And like I said, I don't even expect YouTube to give out notifications anymore. So I try to put it on the other social medias and stuff. But I know how it goes sometimes. Did I read your book? What? You sent a book? I don't know. Maybe I didn't. But, hello, Heidi. But, again, like I say, we're going to talk about you can't do that, right? I want to have fun. Just have some, I don't want to say necessarily lighthearted conversation, but just, it's the fucking, everything else has been going on. It's so fucking stupid. People are stupid. People are just doing dumb shit out there. And it's just like, why? But I think one thing most people people don't agree on shit. But I would say, nostalgia is usually good because we all believe things were so much better, way back when. In reality, it wasn't. But, it makes us feel better about ourselves, especially, depending on when your prime was. And, you're going to associate with shit like that. But in reality, come on, we got the fucking technology makes shit better every fucking day, and it's just more convenient. Now, technology doesn't make everything better. Like, fucking kids don't play outside anymore. They don't even know what fucking grass looks like. So I would say that's definitely a negative, but we're going to act like everything was better, because in my opinion, it was. But I want to talk about things you can't do that. And what I mean by that is where in entertainment and music, just in regular society too, things you are no longer allowed to do that used to be kosher, used to be A-okay. And then now things that you're allowed to do that used to be that's a no-go. You know what I'm saying? That's like a no way, Jose. You can't do that, right? And but it's crazy. So it's crazy how everything has transitioned. And again, like I said, I don't know if it's for better or for worse, or for worse, not worst, for better or for worse. With these changes, with these beliefs, with this mentality that, people have, started to embrace, or a lot of people are starting to embrace. So we're going to talk about that. But real quick, just like I say, just reflecting on things, and I guess maybe with probably another possible lockdown imminent. I don't know. I haven't been paying attention to the news. I've been in a whole other zone. You know, and you know, people isolating and all these things. Like I say, it just made me think about, you know, again, like I've been doing the isolation thing for quite some time, so it's nothing new, but it can have an impact, man. Check in with your people. Check in with your folks. Like it's like you just really don't ever know what's going on. You know, we get so concerned and we get caught up with all the bullshit on TV, get caught up with all the shit that's just going around in the world, and it's just like, and reach out to your folks. Like we get on this shit sometimes, like, well, they ain't calling me, so I'm like that's such a fucking stupid thing. Like, you know, if it bothers you that you ain't fucking heard from, call them. Like, don't be the dumb ass that, you know, ends up regretting the shit. You know, I just could have called him. I was thinking about it, but I was mad. Like, fucking call somebody. Fucking swallow your pride. But so originally we were going to have a conversation. That thumbnail that I was using was going to be a different conversation. Right, and I'm, you know, I like to do semi-trolly type things sometimes with thumbnails. But I was specifically looking for those two characters. If you're not familiar with them, they're, you know, Living Color, Men on Film, which was a hilarious sketch, and that's what got me thinking about this, because you could not do that sketch today. Like, it would instantly get your show canceled, no matter who you are, unless it was actually played by gay men, you know what I mean? But the sketch was hilarious because it was just like, you couldn't even say it was over the top, honestly. Like, if you've ever seen, you know, the Men on Film sketches, and then you compare that to a lot of modern day gays that are promoted in society, like, you wouldn't really think it was that outrageous. Like, it's almost, I wouldn't say it's a spot on. Okay, of course, yeah, you know, it's like intensely overdoing it, but they're not really overdoing it. You know what I'm saying? It's almost accurate to a lot of what you see today. Read my book. No. Look, see, no. See, Heidi, because you're the main one talking about past 25, no more book reading, take action. Now you want me to go back on that and you expect me to read your goddamn book? Well, you're fuck out of luck. Sorry. But, maybe lose my train of thought about the goddamn book, but I appreciate the love. But like I say, you know, it's just, the Men on Film thing, it was like so over top, but it was hilarious, right? It was fucking pure comedy. But you couldn't do that nowadays. And like I said, there's just a number of things like you could, because they also had a sketch, what was it, Handyman? You definitely couldn't do that these days. You know, and I get it on some of these things, but then there's like a point where it's like, it's comedy, right? And I think that's who takes the biggest hit is like fucking comedy. Because everything else is pretty much the same, right? It's like humor. There's like humor police now. But anyway, I think about shows like All in the Family. You could not make All in the Family today. Like, no matter how you tried to spin it, All in the Family would be canceled, like, after one episode. You know what I mean? There's just people wouldn't allow it. Somebody's going to get offended, and somebody's going to get triggered. Take note that 100-time OGs don't get a plug from, what are you talking about? What are you talking about, these notes? But I'm going to have to see this. It might be the Jeffersons, you definitely couldn't do that. You could do the Boondocks because of the Boondocks you can do because people are stupid, right? Like, you can shroud a point in humor and most people won't get it. You know what I'm saying? Like, they don't realize that they're being made fun of. they look at it as being relatable. And that's a problem. And that was the issue with the Dave Chappelle show, because you couldn't make the Dave Chappelle show today. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, you couldn't do anything pretty much weigh-ins. So you know what I'm saying? Like, you really can't get away with anything, right? So it's going to get to the point where all television is super generic because you don't want to offend anybody, right? But what is okay is crossing boundaries sexually or innuendo like that. Like, it's been more like sexual innuendo, I guess. Back then on television was much more subtle. Like, it was low key. Like, it was if it was a family show, like, there would be some little suggestive things said, but not to the point where the kids were like, "Oh, what is he talking about, mommy? He wants to pork or potato. I don't get it." Now it's like way more blatant. You know what I mean? Things that you can get away with now that you couldn't get away with then. Like I said, they have some show, I think it was an HBO show, they were saying, like, with a bunch of kids, like fucking teenagers, got them doing all kind of wild, crazy shit, sex, drugs, and rock and roll, basically. Things like that wouldn't have been acceptable back then, you know? And you can say, oh, well, they had real sex. Like, that's different. You know what I'm saying? We're talking about adults here. But, like, when you're pushing this shit, and again, I think society, like, not society, I think, like, entertainment and media, they have, like, a fucking agenda to really push that narrative. It's a lot of real weird shit going on. And again, I don't know if I want to focus on any of those conversations on YouTube, but there's some real strange shit going on. We may have that conversation more in the Discord, but it's crazy. The world itself is crazy. Like, I don't know. You really got to just sit back and fucking laugh. But you're laughing to keep from fucking imploding because it's just so much fucking crazy shit that are going on. Let me fucking see what's going on. Builder, what's the motherfucking deal, man? And I got those things, but I never sat down and checked them out. And I've been saying, because I said I wanted to do it in the Discord dealy, but I'm gonna watch them myself. And I was thinking about it the other day because I was like, damn, I got them in a special location, and I happened to stumble across them, and I was like, damn, I need to check these out. So I hope all is well, man. I hope you're doing good. Definitely, let's chop it up. Let me see what the fuck Heidi's talking about, and then we will move forward with some of what's going on or whatever we're supposed to be talking about in today's show. Hold on, let me see. See, I don't know that one. I gotta. I'm looking at Wings Debate. I think I'm missing one of the movies, so I wouldn't know. What the fuck is Heidi talking about? It's gonna be something ridiculous. Oh my God. I don't even know why I'm entertaining this, right? Yes. So, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Slick Whips, how are you doing? How are you, man? Oh, Heidi actually like really did write something, and it's fucking long as shit. I will tell you this though. TLDR, right? But what I will say is that Heidi is a pretty good writer. She is very informative in her writing. I will check this out later. I'll send a link to my phone, but I'll do it. I'll put the link in here in a minute. So like I said, man, it's like so strange, and you know, like the Wayfair thing that was taking place, crazy shit, right? And some other little activities, right? It's odd, right? It's real wild, but you know, again, like, so with now society like accepting things, right? Again, like blatant homosexuality was not allowed on TV. Like I think Will and Grace or Ellen, one of them was like a trendsetter, right? And they were like the game changer. But even then, it was just like, hey, there's a gay person. Hey, you know, there's a lesbian. Like now, it's like almost every show has to have like a gay person in it. It's almost like mandatory. You know what I mean? and I'm not knocking it, but it's like, if, supposedly the gay population is such a small percentage of the population, why is there like almost a kind of important gay character in every show, right? And all y'all sitting there saying, Honcho, you over there, you're gay bashing Honcho, shame on you. No, I'm just saying, I'm just pointing it out, right? Like, because I don't know, maybe I do, maybe I just don't know that I know, the very many, right? So like if I was a TV show, there wouldn't be any gay people on my TV show. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I just think of it like, I guess in a weird way, like I guess you're comparing art to reality, but then we're talking about Hollywood and all that other stuff. But like I said, that's changed. Like it was from a point to where that was like unthinkable, and to now where it's like prevalent, like it's almost overwhelming, right? So again, that's something that's changed. And again, like, depending on what you believe in, you say it's a good thing or you say it's a bad thing. But I think television is making us soft. I think that, like, it's no longer. I don't know when it stopped being informative. But like I say, even the news is a means of entertainment now. But in the same way that people will go and watch a fucking scary movie, to like, I don't know, instill some type of fear in themselves. People watch the fucking news, they just watch this fucking fear mongering bullshit. But it's like, it seemed like back in the day they actually, informed you, told you news, like what was going on, gave you information that was pertinent to your existence. Now, it's like the fucking news, especially your major cable news networks, are like fucking gossip magazines now, man. It's fucking crazy. So, anyway, like I said, I won't hog it up too long. But I want to talk about, when we open up the line, your thoughts. What's going on today in entertainment, not just television, right? Because even if you think about, like, music, it's different. I think like rap music, right? I think most other genres have pretty much stayed their course for what they are. Rap is a weird thing because it has so many different little subcultures, right? And so like anybody can do it now. It's whatever. It doesn't even have to make sense. It's just, you got a good beat, it's whatever. But I look at the rappers who are on now, right? Artists who are on now, who are promoted, right, heavily to the forefront. You look how they look compared to if you were growing up in the 90s, like if you were growing up in the 90s, it was like, it's nothing. Like, you would be like, them niggas couldn't walk down the street. Like, they get beat up by women. Like, it would be embarrassing. Like, you couldn't wear that kind of shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, you couldn't dress that way and not be considered straight. Like, maybe in the 80s when that weird androgynous shit was going on, you could pull that off. That's like, they say things go in cycles. I think that's where we are. I think we're in the fashion cycle of that weird androgynous shit. So maybe it'll get back fixed, in the next few years. But again, like I said, then this is just my thoughts on entertainment. And I'm sure other forms of entertainment have changed. I'm sure country has gotten more pop. I've heard people say that it ain't that same old country. This ain't that good old Hank Williams country, if you feel me. But man, let's get into it. Like I say, give me a second, let's open up the lines. Like I said, I want to know what's on your mind. What things have changed in your opinion? Again, some of you are younger, some of you are older. So if you may be older than me, you may be able to, pinpoint things that go a little bit further back. If you're younger, then you don't give a shit about your opinion. Sit your ass down and listen. Yeah. Everybody, Heidi wrote a book. It is available somewhere. I don't know where. I'm sure if you look for it, you can find it. Let's take some calls. What's the motherfucking deal? We got calling into the den this evening.
Evening, Mr. Honcho. Frost here.
Frost, how you doing this evening, sir? What's on your mind tonight, Mr. Frost?
I felt after seeing that thumbnail, I pretty much felt like I had to call in because trust me, there are some things I would need to say on this type of subject.
Okay.
Yeah, because I see Because this whole thing about this whole you can't do that thing, is like I said, it takes over because nowadays it really feels like comedy isn't comedy anymore, and comedians are not allowed to be funny because you can't say anything because if it basically goes like you can't say this, you can't say that, you can't say this, you can't say that. Oh, you can say this, but you got twist, but you can't say this, you can't say that. It's like nowadays it's like nowadays people are so offended you can just stand there and say nothing. People go say, oh, you can't do that.
Correct. Yeah, absolutely. Like you can't do anything. You can't have opinions these days. You could come out and say, "Hey, you know what? Purple is my favorite color," and people will start attacking you and getting mad at you. Well, what about orange? Oranges are not. Like, people don't get mad at you for having your own thoughts these days. Like this is the world we live in. And it's sad.
Exactly. And also think of some. Think of some of the great all-time comedians back then. I mean, come on, Bernie Mac, Richard Pryor, Robin Williams, Andy Kaufman, Chris Farley, John Candy, all of them. Do you think all those comedians in their prime could have gotten as big as they did without all this PC sensitive snowflake culture?
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. I got a question real quick, Mr. Fox. You said a name, I believe. You said Chris Farley, right?
Yeah.
Like, can you explain to me the shtick about Chris Farley? Like, I'm gonna be honest. Like, I was never really like a big fan, so I didn't really get the appeal. I never really watched like Beverly Hills Ninja. I know he did Beverly Hills Ninja. What was that? I know he had like a Tommy Boy, I think. And I knew the movies that he was in, but I never really I never had that appeal to why. I know he kind of did that physical type of comedy. Like, but was he a good stand up or what was the appeal about Chris Farley? I never really knew what it was.
The thing about Chris Farley is, like I said, pretty much if you were around during the '90s, like I said, remember, long before Keenan Thompson, Chris Farley, he was the man on Saturday Night Live. He was the man on Saturday Night Live. He was just one of those type of guys where it's like everything he said could get a laugh. He was a fat guy.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I'm just curious. Sorry to sidetrack your argument. I was curious. I was seeing it some the other day. I was like, Chris Farley. I never really got the appeal, but he was popular for a reason.
Yeah. So pretty much going like I said, pretty much, and those someone we know like Richard Pryor. Do you really think that he could have got as big as he did in this overly sensitive PC culture, especially the type of comedy he did back then?
No, absolutely not.
I said no, really. Richard Pryor's comedy is that he was just so funny. Like I said, his comedy, like I said, his type of comedy was. Like I said, his type of comedy was blacker than peas.
But I agree. Yeah, they definitely wouldn't make it in this society. But I got a question. Do you think that if this whole PC mentality continues to go in the direction that it is, do you think eventually people will be more fed up with it, or do you think people are going to be more likely to accept it?
Well, I said, wait, what do you mean by that?
But what I'm saying is that, as it goes along, do you think people are going to, embrace the merit of being politically correct, or do you think people as a whole, or more people would be kind of tired of having to mince their words for other people? So do you think people would support it or be against it? I guess would be the easiest way to say it in the long run.
Well, based on everything going on today, it pretty much goes without saying that people have come to accept it. But I'm more one of those type of people where I can accept it to a certain type of degree. It's because even I know it's because like I said, I hate this overly sensitive PC culture as much as anybody. But even I have to agree that there are certain things you just don't say, like race jokes. That's kind of so at best, because of course we know Chris Rock pretty much built his career off that. But the one type of jokes that will never fly even back in those days is rape jokes. They do not fly at all.
Yeah, they're very sketchy. You got to be definitely want to read the room before you go and make any rapey jokes. That's not a good deal.
yeah, I said yeah, I said yeah, I said yeah. That's not a yeah. Like I said before, race joke. Like I said, race jokes are so advanced. Like I said, people like the Wayne brothers and Chris Rock pretty much built their career off that. And the number one, I think the number one thing that pretty much started. I think the number one thing that pretty much started this whole sister culture is gay jokes. Because back in the day, literally everybody had them.
Yeah, yeah. That's true. Yeah, you can't say anything remotely in that direction
You ever
because
watch the Wayne brothers?
you're some kind of phobia. The Wayans, oh yeah, absolutely.
Yes, like I said. Oh, you remember that episode? Like I said, you remember that one episode where it's like where Pops was trying to get his band back together, and then it turns out they bought a that's like onto this show because one of the band members that turned into a woman.
I think I vaguely remember that episode, like barely. I got a shitty memory, but I think I vaguely remember that episode. It sounds
Yeah,
memorable.
yeah, because I remember that. Yeah, the Wayne was so funny. I remember that episode was so funny, especially that one episode where I just said where she said where one of the men, where said where one of the male bear mates came back as a woman. And I pretty much have to tell you that if that episode aired today, that show would have been cut off the air.
Mm. You think so, or do you think it would be more embraced?
Trust me. If it's funny, then I would embrace it. But considering how how sensitive people are today, especially people of that community, it's kind of hard. It's kind of hard to pull stuff up. It's kind of hard to pull stuff out there without pointing out cultural appropriation.
Mm. Yeah, it's toe the line time. You got to be real cautious about everything you do. Like, it is to the point now. Honestly, though, it's not even about making fun of people. It's like, again, like it goes to like if you don't wholeheartedly agree with them, like you're gonna get into some shit. I'm thinking about old buddy from Saved by the Bell. You know, he had some shit not that long ago where he said, you know, he didn't think kids should be, you know, transgender or whatever, like you're 2 or 3 years old or whatever the hell. Something that makes complete fucking sense. Like you shouldn't be fucking with the kids. Like let them grow up and be able to speak and formulate sentences and thoughts before you start saying, oh, they want to be this and want to be that. Then he got fucking wrong. Like he almost got canned. Almost got canceled for saying sensible things. You know what I'm saying? Like this is the world that we live in, and so it's very sketchy. Like I don't know, man. I'm worried.
Exactly pretty much what you just said is absolutely true. Because like I said, look, when it comes to that community, I have absolutely no problem with them. Like I said, it's cool. Like I said, be who you are, be who you're happy with. That's all well and good. But the part that I really cannot get with them on is them spreading to children. I know you need to get kids expressing stuff, but the question is, what the shit is a kid worried about with sexuality?
Correct. Like, I don't think we need to be pushing any kind. Like, it shouldn't be homosexuality. It shouldn't be like heterosexual. Like, it's almost like they're jumping before you really start having those conversations with your kid because they're trying to target them young, especially like in the schools and stuff. It's like they're trying to have those conversations, like about homosexuality before people are even really having those conversations with their kids, just about the birds and the bees and things like that. And I think it's forcing parents to have those conversations earlier than they'd like. And I think some parents are uncomfortable. I mean, you need to have it anyway. But yeah, I mean, it's you almost got to like fight against. Let me not say it like that because you're trying to fight against the gays, but it's just like you have to be extremely proactive about the information that's being pushed towards you and your kids, your family, whatever it may be. And you gotta like really be on top. There's a lot of shit going on that whether you agree or disagree, you better make sure that you're observant.
Yes, that's there pretty much. And of all the movies that will not work today, like I said, I think the number one movie that will absolutely not work today, and which just has to be one of my favorite movies of all time, is White Chicks.
White Chicks?
Yes. that movie will not fly today.
Word.
Trust me, trust me. I love that. I love that movie and everything. Like I said, pretty much, I love that movie with everything. But I think it's pretty much the case of it's bad enough. Like I said, just like we get on white folks for stuff like blackface. Just trust me. White folks, trust me. Like I said, and the fact that they were cosplaying as white girls. Let me tell you, white folks will burn that theater to the ground.
I think so. Okay. I mean that's an interesting point. I think that they can still get away with it. Like I think that there's some leverage depending on what side of the argument you're on in certain situations. I think certain parties may have leverage to get away with certain things that others can't. And is it fair? Not quite, but it kind of is what it is.
Yes, okay. Yes, it is. Yes, it is what it is. And Jim Carrey is another one of those comedians that he pretty much came in at the right time, because he's one of the funniest guys alive. But if he came around today, it would not work.
Mm-mm. Yeah, I'm laughing about that because I just watched Ace Ventura the other day, Heidi, and yeah. you couldn't do Ace Ventura. You'd be canceled for Ace Ventura today. But like I said, but yeah, it's crazy because now, like I say, and maybe it's just my opinion. I don't know if you watch newer comedians. Like I like stand up, so I try to watch, maybe somebody who's undiscovered or maybe has a few little shows or something. Maybe and maybe like, okay, cool. Maybe this person will be funny. Whatever. And try to keep up with them. But a lot of times, I end up disappointed because. It's like, I guess maybe everybody's humor is not for me, but yeah, it's gonna get to a point where I've seen a lot of really unfunny comedians, a lot of really unfunny people, but yet people are supporting more, and that's fine. I guess if you like it, cool. But it's just like I don't know, man. I don't know. It's just it's a lot of stuff that's just different. But I guess if the people like it, that's what matters. So I don't know.
Yeah. One of the few comedians who always seems to make it work nowadays is someone like Kevin Hart, because given some of the garbage material that most comedians are forced to do nowadays, he somehow knows how to make it work, because he knows how to go a little bit edgy, but pull back just enough so people won't lose their mind.
Mm. Yeah, because they tried to cancel Kevin for old shit. Like they went back into the fucking archives and tried to cancel Kevin, fucking over a dollhouse joke. But yeah, Kevin's good. But like I say, again, but do you find like that new breed, or is it limiting the jokes when you have to kind of I can't go over the top. I can't Andrew Dice. I can't be these type of people. I can't say certain shit that gets people riled up and offended. Because then I get canceled. I say the wrong thing. The wrong one person's in the crowd. It's over with. It has to be real. I won't say scary, but you have to be very unsure being a comedian now. Depending on what type of comedian you are. If you're an edgy comedian, you might not have a career in a few years. That's almost where we are now.
Yes, and like I said, and what you said, like I said, and stuff like that is why I've always respected the Wayans family, because even when this oversensitive culture started rearing its ugly head. The Wayans family, they pretty much stuck to their comedy. They pretty much did all their movies. They pretty much say what they pretty much said is screw it, let's just go all out. Let's just go all out. Fuck the critics, fuck the sensitive snowflake. Because that's the thing. Comedy is not for everybody. That's it. Different comedians, different types, different styles. But the underlying thing is basically, no matter what it is or how offensive it is, if it makes people laugh, then you're doing it right.
Correct. And I would love to see a documentary or something like that on the Wayans brothers. Like, if anybody needs one, and we're talking about entertainers and whatever, like that entire fucking family, like they need a story told about him from fucking Keenan Ivory on down. Like, them motherfuckers made longevity, but you never heard any off the wall shit about them. Like, the only thing you ever heard was that these motherfuckers make a lot of movies and their parents had a bunch of fucking kids, but you don't ever hear any crazy shit about the fucking Wayans. But them motherfuckers have been relevant for a very, very fucking long time. Almost fucking, what is 30 years? Damn near 40 years.
Yeah.
Shit, they was making movies back in the fucking, what, early 90s? Late 80s? That's all.
Early 90s.
Yeah, so that's they've been around for a long fucking time, so yeah, that's the Wayans definitely need more credit.
Yeah, and I think, I really believe that the reason they have a lot of respect and longevity is because it pretty much just comes down to one, they never forgot because one they like I said, they don't care about the critics, they don't care about the snowflakes, they don't care about anything. They just want to make you laugh. And two, they stick to their guns and they never forget where they came from. And most importantly, they never change for anyone.
Yeah, I agree. You got to salute them on that. I wonder like who is the least funny Wayans. I wonder if they give them any shit. But like, what if there's like one that's just a complete square that is just like has no entertaining bone in their body? Well, there has to be one. One of them, there has to be like a worst Wayans. I wonder which one it is. Like, it's probably one that isn't in any of the movies, but I don't know. Now I'm wondering. What else about Mr. Frosty? I'm sorry.
Okay, Honcho. Like I said, pretty much. I know we got people waiting in queue. So as far as the topic, I pretty much just leave for this. Like I said earlier, comedy is not for everybody. There's different styles, different tastes, and all that stuff. But the number one thing all comedies past and present have always got to remember, like I said, pretty much, it doesn't matter what you do, what you say, where you at. Like I said, if it makes someone laugh, then you've done right. Thanks for the call, Honcho.
All right, folks, man, you have a good evening, sir. Thank you for calling.
All right, I'll let you.
Already. Shout out to Mr. Frost getting the party started this evening. That was one of my favorite skits. I forgot what her name was, but I ain't one to gossip. What's the motherfucking deal? Who we got calling into the den this evening?
Hey, it's Belle.
Hello, Miss Belle.
Sweetberry was asking about your video, and I told her it wasn't my story to tell.
Sweetberry, well, you should have stayed fashionably late and been there unnecessarily. So I don't know if I deleted it or not, but if I still got it up, maybe I'll show it again after the stream. For those who did wait, I know I was it was ridiculous, but so I apologize for those who did show up and missed the video. But I'll play it again after the stream.
Like I said, not my story to tell, so I'll let you do that.
Okay.
One of the things that I was thinking about that couldn't even be played today would be Bosom Buddies of the 80s with Tom Hanks.
I'm not. We say Bosom Buddies? I don't know if I'm familiar with that one.
It's when Tom Hanks and Peter, I think it's Scalaria, they dressed as females and lived in a female hotel.
I don't think I've seen that one. No, yeah, that definitely probably wouldn't be.
It's definitely not PC of today. Oh, hell no. There's actually a lot. You know, the interesting thing is there were a couple of different things that we were talking about tonight, and I'm always accused of being both sides of the fence of things. And what I find to be interesting is radio and television were put on the air for entertainment. News was supposed to be our honest, hardworking, ethically based center of information. And it seems like it's almost the other way around. it seems like the entertainment and the movies are really getting across messages and agendas, and the news is not fact-checking and being accurate, authentic, and transparent, which is what we expect from our news sources.
Correct.
Also, on an interesting note, way back before television, in the periods of plays, in Shakespeare's day, women were not allowed to play any of the characters. So all characters were played by all men, whether they were female or not.
Well,
It was illegal for a woman to play a female role.
What do you think that is? Were women just that bad of actors that they just had to make it illegal?
No, it was definitely a male thing. It was a power issue.
Okay. So when did that start to change?
I have no idea when it changed. I just know at some point it actually did change. So, so I thought that was interesting. It's a different perspective of what we've been talking about.
Okay.
But I mean, there's plenty of shows. I mean, do you think Red Fox would go over well today?
No, they would definitely. You wouldn't be able to do Sanford and Son, especially with some of the race relations issues that they had. That I thought was funny. That with him and Esther, and there'd be a lot of stuff that you just like I say, yeah, because people get offended by everything. You know, like it's definitely changed. Even the dynamic of like most of your male characters now, like you don't even have like really strong male characters anymore. As far as in the sitcoms, like it's usually if it's a father figure, male figure, they're like stupid, big goofballs and things like that. So they're not even promoted in that manner anymore. So I think, like I said, just the whole image has changed, I think, over the years.
Yeah, a strong lead in the 60s is nowhere near the strong lead in the 2020s.
Correct.
But the other thing is that the face of America has changed. And so it's reflecting on what's in the community. Now, this is definitely not politically correct, but it's my opinion. People have gotten too fucking sensitive for their own shit. There are times when stuff is just said to be on the surface. It's not meant to like grab somebody's gonads and twist them, or it's not meant to like twist somebody's chest hairs. It's just meant to be like, here's something that is being said. If you take personal offense in it, you have to have self-accountability. It's not a program, a movie, a song's fault. And that's something that I'm finding in this generation. It's the blame game rather than accountability and ownership. And the cancel culture is a huge part of that, whether it's society-wise and different things with the statues and the flags, or if it's TV shows because it's not black enough, it's not gay enough, it's not white enough, it's not enough music, it's not enough drama. I mean, it's like, please get over yourselves, and the program's either going to reflect something that you enjoy or not, but it's not personal.
Why do you think people make such a big deal and get offended instead of just, hey, changing the channel or watching something else, or, if the characters don't look like when they sort of making their own, like, why do you think people make such a big fuss about what the entertainment?
Honestly, some of this, I think, is like everybody gets a competition prize. Everybody, a participation award. You know what? There are going to be winners and there are going to be losers, and you have to learn to be a good loser in order to be a genuine winner. And when I was growing up, and I'm sure Miss Grace and some of the older ones in the group, we know that it was either first, second, or third. If you came in fourth, it was still fourth, but you didn't get anything for it. You know you participated because you remember playing Sandlot, or you remember playing on the team. And not everybody's going to be the star, but that's okay. everybody has their own time to shine in their own life. It's not responsibilities of society's job to pat us all on the back because we had a sucky childhood.
Correct.
However, we're not teaching our children that it's time to suck it up, buttercup, and you need to grow a backbone. You don't need to be mean about it, but you need to be self-accountable.
I can agree with that. Definitely lack of accountability. And then, you know, when you confront people and things about it, it's almost like they take it as though you're attacking them for, you know, pointing out things that, you know, may be important, or however you want to look at it, you know, that people will take, oh, I feel attacked, or I feel like I'm being, you know, ostracized, or whatever it may be, but you're simply, you know, trying to give them constructive criticism or whatever. Maybe yes, I definitely agree that this is a much, much softer society, and it's getting worse as the decades continue to go along.
Some of them are just plain dingbats. But the thing is like, if there's music that you don't like, don't freaking listen to it. Change the channel, turn it off, find something else. It doesn't mean that you have to go out and have a chip on your shoulder because some country song or some rap song or some rock song was playing and you didn't like it. Well, suck it up, buttercup. You know, life's not always going to be a great bowl of Cheerios. Sometimes it's a crappy day. And you have to learn to live with the bad as well as the good. And that's the thing that I find frustrating, is when it comes to the TV, the programs and the movies are almost all geared towards messages rather than just the pleasure of the story, of what actually the stories are. And that's the point I think that's missing out on entertainment, of just being able to go enjoy something and not have to think too deeply about it, but take a break from a really crappy life or a good life for a moment to go back to that good life or crappy life. That's what entertainment is. It's a moment of interruption. It's not meant to feed the soul. It's not meant to be all, end all. And when we don't find that in our either TV programming or our movies, people are becoming miserable. Well, we're still responsible for our own happiness and our own sadness on some level. And if you blame everything, then how are you taking care of you?
Yeah, when you export the blame on something else, you, again, like I said, I always believe where the blame goes, the power goes. So if you're blaming, you know, this person, that person, then obviously they have some form of power over you if they're able to impact your life in a way that you can't fix it or, control it. So that's why I really try to avoid blaming others, because again, like I say, then you're just, reassigning your own personal power.
And as Big Mike would say, I'm hearing you say that we're giving our power away and not learning how to harness our own in order to make it either positive or putting it into a good solution of what can happen. I think that the media has a big control over that. We as a society have allowed the media to run that. The question is how do we allow or change that without breaking it? It doesn't mean we need to hear zippity-doo-dah all the time and make sure everything's happy like pipe smoke, but on the same note, there's got to be some more balance.
Yeah, but I mean, people just want to, like I say, they want to sell this idea of everybody, happy all the time, and I think that's part of the problem too. I think that's why we're having so many more cases with depression and stuff like that, because one, again, social media, everybody looking at what everybody else is doing and believing everybody's happy all the time when you're fucking looking at still shots and 30-second photos of people's lives, and you think they're just, everything's perfect and wonderful when they're just as miserable as you. And, people are thinking everybody's out, they're living better than they are. I mean, they're thinking less of themselves. And then, like I say, when you don't really have when you're not used to overcoming challenges, you don't know what you're capable of. So when, like I say, we soften everything up, everybody wins, or you don't have to deal with your emotions because we're not going to introduce you to bad feelings or any of these things. So you never learn how to deal with it. You never become capable of dealing with it. And then when you become an adult and you get thrown into a situation where there's a bit of conflict, and not necessarily a physical conflict, either way, you can't handle it. And they spaz out and they act like small children. Especially if they don't get their way and start, yelling and screaming and things like that, because that's what they've always been taught as word form or, whatever else it may be. And I agree, there has to be some way of finding a balance. But, I mean, I'm not the expert, so I have no idea what that would be.
Well, I can say this. Some of it comes back to the parenting, and not necessarily actually the parents, but it comes back to a generation of child services stepping in so far that even good parents were afraid to discipline their kids, because the fact is that all the rage to take the kids away from the parents because of abuse charges.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that's an across-the-board thing. That is not black, white, brown. That is human beings across the board. And now, 20 years later, we're coming back and we're seeing evidence that a lot of these cases weren't even treated right, and kids were killed in the system because of the fact of the lack of how it was put together.
Yeah.
Sorry, that's a whole nother show, but it's all stemming from a collective blindness to what parenting needs to be.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
anyway, I'm going off way on a tangent for tonight, and it can probably be another show if you choose to. But anyway, that's just my thoughts for the day. So,
okay.
You have any other questions?
No, ma'am. I do not. No further questions.
Okay.
All right. So, well, the bell has rung and class is in session. So, Miss Bell, I appreciate you calling in and getting Mr. Frost got the party started. Well, joining the party this evening. So.
Well, it's a party no matter what way you look at it.
Yes.
All right, good night, Honcho.
All right, good night. You have a good evening. Thanks for calling, Miss Bell.
You too.
All right.
Bye.
Bye. I was going to say all of you chatters are terrible people. Terrible people in the chat. Shame on all of you. What's the motherfucking deal? Who do we have calling in to the den this evening?
Good evening, brothers and sisters.
Mr. John, how are you doing this evening, sir?
I am doing very phenomenal. Thank you for asking. Allah be upon you also, my brother. This is Minister John Fariskin calling in to present the good sermon.
Mr.
Hold on a second. My protege, my baby boy over here, would like to speak to y'all. Hold on.
Okay.
Come on, little Nicky. Come on, you can do it. Come on, good boy, come on. Hi, this is Nick Cannon. I think white people are animals and Jews are evil, but I won't talk about any of the things that every other race did to make them just as equal as disgusting. You know. Anyway, what's up?
No. Yeah, I saw something about that, Nick. I hadn't seen the video, but I heard there were some people who were not too happy about some things that Nick Cannon said. And I'm wondering the whole time, how is Justine going to respond to this, when they start filming Wild Out again? I wonder if she's going to feel any particular kind of way. So, Mr. John, what has changed in entertainment from the good old days, the golden ages of television, to where we are now, in your opinion?
Let's see, from the good old days of quality comedies like Blazing Saddles to where we are now. Everybody's trying to make pretend that the world has changed. And for the most part, it has a little bit, but for the most part, it has not. And the image, the way they're trying to show the world change is with, in my opinion, the less important and superficial, shallow things. Like, we can't say certain words anymore. We can't put certain pictures on a box anymore. And then we say, look at us, we're progressing. But the reality is, all you're doing is forcing more evil people to go underground, where bad things get cultivated, and then when they come back up above ground, it ends up being something horrendous. I think it's like I understand that people shouldn't be allowed to run around wild and just say any damn thing they want. But when you put so much pressure in containing everyone and every little thing, it's like a pressure cooker, and when there's one little fissure that ends up happening, it just crack and burst open and explode. So I think what society is trying to, or I should say what the media, Hollywood, social justice warriors are trying to do, I think eventually will come back and blow up in everybody's face.
I agree. I think the same thing. 'Cause I think you're going to push people so far to the point where it's going to be just, I mean, it's ridiculous now, but I think where even some of your more moderate to liberal people are going to be like, wow, this is over top. And I think as a whole, society is going to kind of want to revolt against that whole mentality. And I think the people who kind of are trying to defend it, they'll be on the wrong end of it. I don't think it'll be too pretty, but that's what happens when you put restrictions on people. In your opinion, what show in the past could not, absolutely would not be able to be put on television today?
Oh, there's so many of them. I mean, I was thinking of this while you were talking to Bell and Frost, and I'm like, almost every show and almost every movie could not be played today without some form of censorship. I mean, Married with Children, like you couldn't play that today.
No.
Making fun of fat people all day long. Making fun of women all day long.
Oh my God, fat women, especially in their feet, the shoes. Like, do you understand? Al was the great. Like, Al was like my mentor growing up. I watched probably Married with Children more than anything growing up. Like, that's like the only memory I have like of consistency with my pops is us actually watching Married with Children together in the evenings. And like Al was just that dude, and yeah, absolutely. Now you couldn't do it. The first episode would be over as soon as he said something about one of those lovely women in his store being portly. The show's canceled.
Yep, you couldn't do In Living Color. You couldn't do. I mean, really almost any show. Almost any show, they'll find a reason. You're making fun of gay people, black people, homeless people, Jewish people, Christian people. You're making fun of terrorists. Like they'll literally come up with anything and protect anybody. There's almost no show you could do today that wouldn't need some form of censorship or get some form of backlash. It can't happen.
Oh yeah, like I was just sitting there thinking, I'm like, well, what about the Brady Bunch? But right now, if the Brady Bunch came out, if one of those kids weren't gay, they'd want to cancel that show. Like you'd have too many people on the show for one of them not to be gay in 2020 for it to be put on television. So yeah, it would definitely be different. Like everything has definitely changed. So I agree. That's terrible. So is there any show that you could think of from back then that maybe that was popular that would still be successful today that you think that would translate?
There's a couple. I think Family Ties, Family Matters, Growing Pains, The Wonder Years, I think maybe. They're actually they're doing a remake of that, but it's going to be an all-black cast, supposedly, I heard.
What?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was Wonder. That's one with Winnie, right? Or whatever her name is?
Yeah,
the girl with the black hair?
Yeah. Wonder Years was great. That was a great show.
Yeah, I heard that they're gonna redo that, but they're gonna do it with an all-black cast.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's wild. I don't know, man. If Family Matters would work today, because Winslow, he was a cop. Black cops nowadays.
Oh, that's right. So, that's right.
Yeah, he canceled.
But you know what it is? He was very overweight, so it would enforce that all body types are beautiful.
Yeah, you can't cancel.
They might give him a pass.
Okay. It's too much conflict. Yeah, so you kind of got a case for him, because if you cancel him, then you could say, well, it's not because it's a copy. Y'all are body shaming him, and then you got to bring him back. So this is the whole thing. That's what I'm saying. So like, at what point, does somebody's offense, overwhelm the other person's offense? Like, oh, I'm offended by this or I'm offended by that. Well, what if this person has, maybe both these characteristics, or they're conflicting or whatever? Like, does somebody being offended get to, outweigh somebody else? Or, I mean, like, who holds more weight? Do you have to be more intersectional to get more offense points? Like, I don't understand how this whole thing, who gets to be offended and who gets to cancel shit is what I'm still trying to figure out. Because if I had cancel power, I'd be canceling.
I mean, like, I feel like I'm being facetious now, but I feel like if they did a remake of Romeo and Juliet, like, the LGBTQIA plus community would be like, that's sexist because you didn't put two guys or two women as Romeo and Juliet. I feel like literally nothing you do, somebody will find offense to it, and it's crazy.
Absolutely, because I know there was some people mad that Spider-Man wasn't gay, or that he's supposed to be entertaining. Like, it's like, if it wasn't written that way, why not go out and create the character that you want to be that way, and let him have his whole own universe and entity? Like, why? And I get this, even with like turning characters black and doing like all of this bothers me. Like, it is not just the gay thing. Oh, if it was black, no, it's all of it. Like, if a character was designed by somebody in whichever way they designed him, let them stay that way. Go design your own fucking character, and give them whatever fucking powers you want to. Like, I don't understand why people want to adopt that or want to change. Like, I don't. It makes no fucking sense to me. Like, I'd rather see something original than turn fucking Superman black or some shit like that. Like, what do you really get out of that? Like, what have you accomplished? But people think, again, that's one of those shallow, pointless things that people think is progress. Well, we got.
I think, and this is just an assumption. I think, off the top of my head, I think the two reasons why they would do that would be, one, like, research and development costs. Like, you don't really have to come up with a new character. You could just paint his face black, brown, white, yellow, red, and then make him any race or ethnicity you want for her. And it saves on money. It saves on creative thinking. That's number one. And number two, I think it's just maybe they want to ruffle some feathers. Maybe they want to make Black Panther starring Will Ferrell and Julia Roberts. Maybe they just want to ruffle feathers. Maybe they want to make, a classic white character black. You know what I mean? Maybe they want to do that. I've been reading a lot about, I told you I was going to enroll in the African American Studies class.
Yes.
I've been reading a lot about Black American history, Jewish history, as well as, excuse me, as well as ancient Roman history. And, all the things that I've been learning, it's kind of scary because they're all, like, repeating themselves today. And I know people always say, like, if you don't know your history, you're doomed to repeat it. But, I mean, I was reading something about Hitler, and it said where he had some kind of I don't know, like a feeling or a slogan, or if he said it, but it was something along the lines of, like, if you don't give people a reason to fight for something, they'll find something to fight for. And that was part of his reasoning behind the campaign of saying, communism and capitalism and Jewish people are all bad and they're all intertwined and we have to fight that. And that was kind of like his reasoning for, like, pushing that. And I feel like in politics in America now, it's like they're creating things for people to fight over that we weren't fighting over, definitely not to the degree we are now, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years ago. So I feel like, and I mean this in a sensitive way, but like Hitler's plan is just being like rehashed by someone else in a different part of the world to kind of have like a similar outcome in terms of like domination and complete control, dictatorship, things like that. And it's sad and it's kind of scary at the same time.
Well, it's extremely scary, especially, with the imagine a Hitler with the advent of the internet and having access to, people who may share that same ideology worldwide, and then what kind of, damage could have been done. And I mean, I could agree with you if somebody does, I mean, it's possible. You see fucking motherfuckers walking around with millions of fucking followers, and people who are worshiping their every move and things. So if one of these people decided to, maybe organize, or I mean, there are some people who already do have some of these mentalities with large followings. I mean, you would be surprised what can happen. It doesn't take much. We've seen what one person can do by themselves. So if you definitely got a group of people organized and of the same mentality, it could be catastrophic.
Yeah, I mean, I'm 100%. Like in this whole little Nick Cannon incident. I mean, granted, he is nobody that holds weight. Nobody hears his voice. But what he did say was absolutely reprehensible, disgusting, and extremely a one-sided view of the world and its history. But it's kind of fucking weird and insane to think that a man, what was it, 80 years ago, 70 years ago, whatever it was able to convince multiple countries all around the world that it was okay to kill Jewish people because of their religion and they were bad people, and they signed on board with it. Yes. And to this day, there's been literally over 100 countries that have banned Jewish people from entry. People to this day that attack Jewish people. It's insane. Like you could say, well, in America, like they had the Ku Klux Klan and white supremacists. They are a pimple on the ass compared to the amount of murders that they did directly. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you could say most of the people in the transatlantic slave trade died during transport, and then the rest that did died in foreign lands where they were being oppressed. Like, this man literally put them on a train to train them into concentration camps and put them in an oven. Like, it's fucked up. Like, and you have to this day, not like a million people, tens of millions of people who still think there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. Like, at least like racism, most people who are racist are really just bigoted and they say stupid things, but they wouldn't actually harm someone. There's people today that literally, like, more so than black people get killed, Jewish people get killed. I mean, I was reading some statistics that the number one hate crime is committed against Jewish people, not anyone else. Everyone else is like a distant second and third and fourth. So I was just like, it's insane that, like, what that man Hitler was able to do, and I was just one man. I can't get my friends to agree where to go on a Saturday night, and this man got half the fucking world to agree to kill Jewish people. I don't think I'll ever understand people's minds.
It is. That is crazy. But I think I think it would almost, like I say, I think it would be easier today to probably, I mean, with the right connection, the right individual, may have it easier today. I mean, like I said, I don't think he's going to have an army. I mean, I don't think he's going to be the leader of a country, but you could probably convince a lot of people of a lot of shit, because nobody thinks at all these days. Nobody, at least back then, people read, people, entertained themselves different. They weren't like, everything wasn't thinking for them. They weren't blinded by social media. I'm not saying they were all geniuses, but like, you had other activities. I would like to think people were more aware, maybe more sensible then, maybe not as knowledgeable, because you don't have access to the information, but you would think that they were more I don't want to say self-aware, but you would think that they were more, maybe they thought for themselves more, but maybe I was wrong. But now, again, like I say, everything is the device. Every device thinks for you, does all, you can't even remember passwords, phone numbers, things like that. I think people's brains are even weaker. I think people's willpower is even weaker. I think people would be easier to convince now than it was back then. Like I said, given the right platform and the right access to people, I think it could happen.
Yeah, I think the internet can be used for good things. Because I know I was reading through Twitter. I read through Twitter every day, go through the trending things, and every time I do, I wish I regret it. But I really do. But I was reading, and then there was a hashtag the other day called Jewish privilege, and it was a bunch of Jewish people talking about, like, being sarcastic as to what their Jewish privilege is. And it talks about, like, their experiences with, like, anti-Semitism, and hatred and stuff like that. And I remember reading one of them, and she was like, my Jewish privilege is that the password to my computer is my great-grandfather's Auschwitz code that was tattooed onto his arm. And I was like, oh, shit. So, I mean, like, I just find it, I don't know. I was talking to my friends. I was hanging out with a couple of friends on Friday night, and I was talking to them about, like, your show, like what you do and the things that everyone calls in and talks about. And then I was telling them, like, that you inspired me to do my own show, which I'll be honest with you, I have it all set up. I just don't have the balls to make the video and put it public.
Man,
but
and I'm glad you said that. Hey, I'm gonna do you like I did D the Gamma. I still got to write, like, and I still have your email sitting there, because my thing is, like, when somebody sends me a link to email, like, I in my mind, before I write anything, I'm expecting to return a lengthy email, and so it's like, all right, let me just get myself prepared to make sure I got the time to sit down and write, and I'm gonna get that to you. But no, but absolutely, I'm gonna do you like I did D the Gamma. I'll be expecting, what's the day? Tuesday? You got to the end of the week, John.
That's Tuesday.
You got till Friday. What
have I got till Friday?
Just do it. No excuse. Don't worry about what you put up. Just feel like you put the best thing you got out there, and live with it. Your first video is always going to be your worst video, and you're going to grow from there.
Yeah, I was going to make one about. There's a couple instances, a couple of high-profile situations that have happened over the past month and a half, and every time I'm like, I want to do it, then I get nervous, then I'm like, you know what, I should have done it, but. I was telling my friends about your show and how I call in and everyone else calls in. I was telling them about the characters I call in, like John X, Martin Luther John, John, Aryan Imperial Wizard, Aryan Skinhead Brother John, and they loved it. And I was telling them about how I want my show to be every episode starts off with a piece of history, like when I was talking to you about Lemuel James, and we could do we'll do a black person one day. We'll do a white abolitionist another day. We could do a contribution from people that don't typically think of America back in the day, like Mexican people, Spaniards, Muslims. And every day I want to do a different, a 2, 3, 4 minute piece on a little introduction on who somebody is. And then I was telling them I want to be able to, with all the nasty shit that's been going around the past 5 years, 10 years. Want to be able to put a little picture of maybe a missing kid or a missing woman or something, somebody missing, an unsolved murder, something like that. Put that up, talk about that, So because and when I heard what Nick Cannon said the other day, I was like, well, I'm not shocked. I'm not shocked that anybody says things like that anymore. What bothered me is when people are so one-sided. You want to talk about. You want to be racist. You want to be an asshole, whether you're white, black, brown, yellow, whatever. Go ahead. You have the right to be an idiot, and people have the right to be an idiot right back to you. But I just can't stand how I personally can't fathom how someone could be totally ignorant to the complete other side of the world. How anybody could say one side is evil, but then not realize that every other side has done almost the same damn thing throughout history. So my whole point was, I don't feel like I could do this show because I feel like I'm going to get flagged and taken down within a week. You know what I mean? Could you imagine? Put it like this. I'll give you an example. You're a content creator. You've been on YouTube for a while. You have multiple channels. So if I made a video about Nick Cannon, right, talking about how the Jews are evil and they're behind every war and they own everything and they're oppressors and they finance the slave ships and 75% of the Jews who lived in America were slave masters, if I combated that video saying, you know what, even if all that was true, what would it matter? Because number one, let's take a look in history of what white people have done, and then let's take a look in history of what black people have done. And I can go and name every single African atrocity, which was usually committed on African people against other African people. And I was like, well, black people like to claim that Hannibal was black. Well, Hannibal tried to go into Italy, and he got fucked up the second time he did it. The Moors invaded Europe. there's so many things I could say, like the Rwanda genocides, the King Selassie genocides of the Muslims in Ethiopia, Botswana, Benin and Togo building a wall and going to war, Arab slave, like I could say white people, the Ku Klux Klan, racism, oppression, murders, like bombs, nuclear bombs, like I can literally say the same things for every race. That would be my response video. My response video is, even if you were 100% right about Jewish people, what is your point? Your people were just as evil. And honestly, black people in this world have never had the amount of power as other races of people. So you might have been even more equal if you had the power. So what is your point that Jewish people, quote unquote, own everything and they're evil and this and that? What is your point? You're just as evil. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and what does it say about you or anyone else who talks like you that you view every single person as a race instead of as an individual? You know what I mean? So, like, that would be my video. That would be my response video. I would quote historical atrocities committed by all three of the major races, Asian, white, and black. And I would say, what is your point now? My race did horrible things. Jewish people did horrible things. Asians did horrible things. The Mao Dynasty, Genghis Khan the Mongols ran all through fucking Europe and Asia. Like, what is your point? And I know that video's gonna get flagged. They're gonna take my fucking video down for hate speech.
But I don't think I think it just depends on how you present it. Like, even if you said it the way you just did, I don't think they could put it as hate speech, because then it's comparative. You're comparing a situation. I don't think that there's anything wrong with that. I think the only way they could pull it is if you targeted one race specifically. It was just, well, this is all the bad stuff. But then, they could probably say, oh, well, it's hate because you're focusing on this one thing. But I mean, if you present it in that format, like I say, white, black, Hispanic, Asians, they're the worst. They do the most. We all know this. Not just talking shit about Asian people. But, I don't think they have a leg to stand on, because you're making, you're comparing atrocities. And I think if you solely focus, like, okay, I'm just going to combat this one point, I think it would still be legitimate. Like, hey, well, I'm going to give a counterpoint to what Nick Cannon said. And then you're going to have people who are going to try to do it. But it's not going to be as easy just to flag it down. Just because it gets, a lot of dislikes and things like that. As long as you're not directly insulting, you're only, stating facts. You should be good. Like, it shouldn't be an issue whatsoever. You're going to have people complain and bitch about it, but trust me, I had a video about that little incident with the transgender situation in Dallas, and people weren't too keen on the way I did it. There was a lot of other transgender. They threatened all kind of complaints and this, that, and other. I'm sure they did. It got a lot of dislikes, but there was no real issue. Like I said, stuck to the facts. And I stated a few things I thought were my opinions, and I don't think I did anything insulting. Personally, I may have, but I think as long as you play it that way, you're good, man. Like, you shouldn't even worry about it. Like, I think even if you did, like, that's just part of the game. Like, you figured, okay, I know how far I can push it, how far I can't. But I don't think you'll have that issue. I don't think that'll be an issue at all.
Yeah, because I actually got excited because my friends from Friday, I was telling them about, when I was talking about your show and what I want to do with my show. They loved it. They loved the idea, because I told them my show's going to be about politics and current events, but a lot of it's going to be about educating people and bridging the ignorance gap between different religion and races and just people, and even between men and women. Because I want to talk about politics, current events, dating advice, and race relations. So I feel like my opinion on myself is, I feel that I could take the time and see how someone else feels and show some empathy and kind of like at least agree with them on something, versus where most people won't agree with anything and just want to bash you over the head with their point. And they were loving it. They're like, please, like, I want to call in. I want to be the first person on your show. And I'm like, here's these fucking white guys who know nothing about other people's culture, and they're like, that was fucking awesome. Like, if somebody would do that, like, that would be awesome. Like, and like, you're really blunt, so like, you wouldn't bite your tongue. So like, but again, like the topic of your show is, I don't feel like I could get on YouTube and do that for too long. I certainly don't think I could do it and be monetized. So it's like, am I just putting myself out there at the risk of someone doxing me, some psycho showing up at my house or my job, and I'm not getting something, and I'm not getting rewarded for it financially?
I don't think, man. Like I said, I think as long as you cover up a couple of things, you don't have to worry too much about the doxing thing. I think it's about how you approach. Some people want to be famous, so they put themselves, they kind of set a trap for themselves, but whatever.
Right.
I don't think that's your goal. Like I said, I think yours is actually to help people, to inform, and change some lives, change some perspectives. So I say, man, as long as you're focused on, like I said, you seem like you have an intent. You seem like you have it all mapped. So that's what I'm saying. Like, man, just execute. And what happens is that first one happens, it goes great, even if it bombs. Like, you just look at, okay, well, this is where I went wrong, this is where I first. So now you have a stepping stone. Now you have a guide stone or whatever you want to call it. It says, okay, well, this is what I got to do next time, and this is what I do on the next one. Like, you got to execute that. So you start improving once you see what happens. That's the only advice I could just put it out there, and then like I say, just deal with it. Trust me, there's some streams that I should probably delete, that should probably be deleted, and I'm sure if people really care, there's been some things that have been said that probably should have had this motherfucker demonetized, but somehow we've continued to survive through it. So don't be too worried about it. And even if that's the case, there are alternatives to monetization. You know what I'm saying? Or as far as different things that may actually be better options than YouTube itself. It can be a little inconvenient, but if that did happen, you know what I'm saying, you have options. So like I wouldn't even sweat, as far as worrying about YouTube monetization, because like I said, there's other alternatives to still monetize your stuff even if it's not through YouTube.
So what movie of yours that you particularly like that you feel could never be remade today? TV show.
Like I say, I was a big fan of Married with Children. I mentioned All in the Family earlier. I loved it. I used to love when Archie and George would have their back and forth. You definitely couldn't have All in the Family today. As far as movies, like I said, I'm not sitting there acting like I'm a super movie buff. I don't have anything that particularly comes to mind right off top. But I'm sure anything that was funny in the fucking early 2000s, 90s is banned now. Like you can't fucking laugh at anything anymore. So yeah, I don't know. Like I said, movie, I don't know, but definitely, like I said, the two that jumped out to me was All in the Family, the In Living Color skit. Like that's what really had me thinking about it. Oh, and I was gonna say earlier, and this is what I say about pushing shit to the brink. The original conversation I was gonna have tonight, I was still gonna use a photo of the men on film. But I was going to call this stream Forbidden Fruit, right? And really talk about the relationship between, the black community and gay people. Because there's, depending on who you ask, and, as far as a lot of the liberal stuff and the things that go like, that was going to be the conversation. And it'll be the conversation in the future. But then I got to thinking about it, and I was like, Forbidden Fruit, that's probably offensive to somebody. Probably shouldn't be calling anybody fruit. So I was trying to do it to be actually kind of like a play on it. But I'm like, yeah, somebody probably get offended by that, and that may be the straw that breaks the camel's back. So we had to change it up a little bit. Tommy
Sotomayor spoke about that recently. The relationship between LGBT community and black people, and it was more so like how people treat each other. And he was saying how like black people, straight black people, feel so free and carefree to say like the F word, like just like casually. And he's like, no other group of people does that so casually. And he was kind of talking about how like how that like has an effect on a relationship between someone if you're going to use those kind of words between them. So I know I don't know if you want to catch that video, but he was definitely saying something. But that's something that always like kind of piqued my interest too, because I'm like, they always put so many. It seems like there's so many black people on TV that are part of that community, but yet you also see so many outspoken black people against that community. So I always kind of like had me like thinking like, like what's the game plan here It always had my mind like wondering, like, are they trying to, you know, like, I don't know. That's something that I have noticed. I wonder if it's just other races of people feel as vehemently against it, but they don't speak out as much. I've been thinking. I don't know what the answer is, but I've been thinking.
Yeah. And it is. It's that's the thing that interests me too. Is like the number on, again, like you see on TV. It seems like the percentage, if we're talking representation, seems a bit high. But then like you say,
a little bit.
Yeah, just
a little bit.
Yeah, you know, it's like, but when you ask people in the community, like you said, a lot of people are not. Again, that's why I say it's crazy, because honestly, I think a lot more black people have, you know, more conservative views than, you know, they want to believe. But whatever, that's a whole other conversation. But even if you ask, you know, gay people, gay blacks, they'll say, you know, well, you know, the black community is not very friendly towards us. But it seems like, with especially men in the black community, especially you're talking about the media, it's usually the gay men that are pushed to the forefront. You look at any fucking reporter anywhere, it's always a gay guy. You know, I don't think you have too many straight black male news reporters. You know, if they are, they're few and far between. Especially on the, you know, the major networks. We all know Dapper Don.
Now, do you think that is the powers that be promoting them on purpose because of their sexual orientation, or do you think it has to do more with the fact that they are like more oppressed than just being black, but also being, you know, gay, that drives them further to maybe like want to be in certain fields, or just gives them more of a drive because they have that extra bit of like oppression telling them you can't do it, and them saying fuck you, yeah I am?
That's actually a good point. I mean, yeah, they could have the extra motivation, but I feel like I don't think that there's a gay guy just because he's gay that's, you know, got more drive and motivation than, you know, somebody who feels fueled or feel like they're, you know, they're missing out on opportunities because they're black, so they're gonna, you know, work twice as hard. I think if you feel if some type of oppression motivates you, I think, you know, I don't think it pushes you any harder than anybody else's, you know, motivational oppression, if that's a thing. So I don't know if that's, I think that, you know, the powers that be prefer that, because I think when you're talking about in mass, especially if you're talking about, again, like late 80s, early 90s, we're talking about how it's changed. Like, you know, it used to be the idea of the angry black man, and I'm wondering how much of that may linger when you see the gay guy. He's generally soft and effeminate, like there's no fear there. You're not, you know, afraid. You shouldn't be afraid of your news people anyway, but I mean, it just doesn't, it's I guess it's a counter to that narrative or whatever. I don't know what it is, but I just think it's an oddly high number, you know, representing at the forefront of media.
I'm going to get off the phone now because I've been hogging up the lines, but just want to say one thing. When you end up doing the LGBT community versus, I guess, straight black community, when you do that, I have a very interesting story when I call back in, because I actually had this debate with 3 African black guys on the car ride, for a 45-minute car ride, and it turned into a heated debate that went from the front page to the back page of the Bible, to Africa, to Europe, back to America. Like, it literally, like, it was a deep conversation.
And you're talking about real Africans, not African American. You're talking about real Africans?
Yeah, I'm talking about right. They were born. They were born in West Africa, and they immigrated to America. They are 100% West African, and they are Bible thumpers. They're extremely conservative, and all I'm going to say is, we went toe to toe for 45 straight minutes, and it was just insane. It was insane. Trying to get through to them, to make they would not see any similarities.
Nope.
When I said to him, like, he's like, they're different. I guess I'll spoil it and tell you the gist of it. He's like, no, they're different. We don't like them. It's immoral. I was like, but that's the same thing that white people said when they'd hang you from a tree. You're different. They were like, yeah, but it's different. I go, you're right. It's different. They hung you because you were black. They hated you because you were black, and you hate them because they're gay. They're different. He's like, yeah, but it's not the same thing. I said, you're right. It's not the same thing. You hate them because they're gay, and white people hated you because you're black. i.e., different. You hate them for one reason, they hated you for another. And none of them had the business to hate on you. And certainly not to put their hands on you or tell you that you don't deserve any, your basic human rights. And they could not understand how when you view someone as different, it doesn't mean that you get to fuck with them like that. They could not. To them, it was completely a whole nother world to them. And I was like, you don't get to dictate like this is bad and that's not, and then enforce it with, oppression and murders. You know what I mean? Like, you would never say the white man is okay for oppressing you, but yet somehow you want me to be okay with you oppressing gay people. Like, hello, anybody home? And it was just a 45-minute vile debate about that, and they could not see that they were treated differently because they were different, and to them it's completely different because it's a different kind of different. So. Anyway, when I started the whole they would hang someone who looked like you just because you were black, and when I started going, because I did that towards the end of the conversation, when I started doing that, they started shutting up, and then but they finally shut up with I don't know what part of I don't discriminate against anyone you can't fucking understand. I don't have to like anybody. I don't have to be your friend. I could choose not to live anywhere near you. But what part of I don't discriminate against anyone don't you understand? And I said to them, if no one knew what we looked like and they just heard us talking like a transcript, they would think you guys are the white supremacists and I'm the abolitionist. I'm like that's how you guys sound right now. And then that's when they eventually shut up. And this was years ago, and since then they really haven't said anything about gay people ever again.
Yeah, I don't expect those views to change. That is a deeply ingrained thing. So
well, they have made comments sparingly over the years, and it was always like I don't agree with it, but to each his own, which is a stark difference from that's not right, like they're not human, this and that, you know what I mean? So I think me ripping into them, I'll say, I think me being a white guy and being the one preaching the equality in the car and being so passionate about it, and then these black guys are sitting there like, this white man's telling me that white people used to hang people who look like them just because they look like them, and then saying you shouldn't do horrible things to people just because they're gay. I personally think that it had a difference to them if someone maybe, say, another black person would have said it to them or someone else. Like when I'm using the atrocities that white people did to black people simply because you look different, and you're saying you think the same things of gay people just because of what they do in the privacy of their bedroom with another consenting adult. I think that had something to do with it, because as you know, because you laughed, it's not easy getting through to an African.
Fucking get through a brick wall with a fucking toothpick easier than that. Like it's not happening. Yeah, fucking they are very stubborn people.
Yeah, I apologize. I took up your time. I apologize. I've run the den. I apologize. I just want to say that this is New York John signing out. I love the Jews. I love the blacks. I love the whites. I love the yellows. I love the reds. I love the Christians. I love the Muslims. I love you all. Peace, love, and hair grease. Have a good night, everybody.
Good night, Mr. John. I appreciate the call, sir. What's funny is even in showing love in that outro, somebody would have been offended. That's the day and age we live in. If you didn't shout out aliens in other dimensions, you left them out, you're canceled. What's the motherfucking deal we got calling in to the den this evening?
It's Dan, bro.
Dan, the motherfucking man with the plan. What's going on, Dan? How are you this evening, sir?
Man, I showed up, bro. I just finished this algebra test, man. I probably washed it. If I got a C, congratulations. Maybe a B. We'll see. Now, the teacher's nice, so maybe she'll give me some good credit for finishing all the problems, but not getting the right answer per se. But I showed the work. I mean, she's really cool. You know, she likes working with people.
Yeah.
I know I didn't fail it. That's all I know. So that's pretty good.
I know this
everything else
daddy
in the
man.
class
You
is
got
an
it.
A. Oh, thank you, sir. I appreciate that. I wanted to get serious for a minute, but I don't know if I want to go there right now. Let's just stick on subject. You know, I post stuff in Discord. That's all I need to be said about that. So, shows you can't do anymore. Pretty much most things in the 70s, just for starters. What was it, All in the Family with, what is it,
Archie
Bunker? Yeah. Edith, there's a nigga at the door. They already said that one episode. When George Jefferson showed up, oh, man, bro. It was amazing, bro.
I loved it. I loved All in the Family so much, dog. Like, it sounds crazy to most people, and people think I love that show. I thought it was a great show. I fucking hate his little son-in-law and shit.
Oh, man. Oh, I got another one. The good old boys, the Dukes of Hazzard, no way in hell.
Oh, yes. They probably trying to go back and digitally remove every Confederate flag. They're going to take all the Confederate flags out. They're going to replace them with rainbow flags. Yeah, it's like that's where we're at, dog. Like, it's crazy. Like, we can't accept things for being what they were. You know what I mean? Like, it was what it was in its time. I'll have no problem leaving it as it is. Let's acknowledge, hey, at this point in time, this is how people thought. This is what was going on in the world. This was the culture. You know, now, you know, in retrospect, we see things differently. It is what it is. We can take note of that. We can acknowledge that without having to go back and try to wipe everything clean. Because in my opinion, what you go do when you go cancel everything and wipe all this shit out is now you're dismissing, you know, what was going on back then. Oh, we want to hide all the negative. We're going to cancel Gone with the Wind. We're going to, like, all of these things. So you're like, you're ruining a lot of history. And I know history has a lot of falsehoods in it. Again, whoever, you know, whatever writes history. But I mean, it's just like, I don't think you need to try to go back and retroactively clean up, you know, history. Like, just let it be what it was.
See, that's called subversiveness. That's a certain agenda that people are pushing. In the guise of equality, which is just the quality of everything else but equality. Well, quality of thought. Everyone has to be on the same page. You can't have a dissenting opinion, or you end up like the New York Times was an editor that just got fired. No, she resigned. And this is a major, like, left-wing newspaper. They did a huge article for Hillary Clinton when she ran in 2016. That's how unbiased they are, and they're forcing people out who don't agree with them all the way. Let me go back to the subject. I got another one. This $6 million man. Now get this. Oh, I ain't done yet. Get this. It would be the $6 million trans man.
Oh my God.
And the majority of that money would be spent on the genitals. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe the hair dye. That's about it. Because they always got these weird Kool-Aid dyed hair colors and shit. These weirdos.
Could you imagine? We can rebuild them. We have the technology. They ain't gonna do That's fucking crazy. Man. Oh my God.
Yeah, sir. I got you tripping off. Did I say your idea, sir? I didn't mean to. I thought everyone would pretty much assume that the Dukes of Hazzard have been canceled. I know they're canceling it now. Man, like, the show's already been over for like decades.
What they need to cancel is some of these motherfuckers wearing Daisy Dukes. That's what they need to be canceled. Daisy Dukes ain't for everybody. You know, you gonna cancel Dukes of Hazzard, cancel the motherfuckers who have no business wearing Daisy Dukes too. If we gonna do it, let's just wipe it all out in one fell swoop. Because shorts ain't for everybody.
Real talk. I don't even know what to say anymore about this. It's this cancel culture. And did you hear about this letter? About a bunch of like left-wing, like J.K. Rowling and the professor stuff. They wrote this letter saying, "Let's cancel this cancel culture," and it's getting laughed at, and rightfully so, because you guys enabled this culture.
Correct.
You guys with all this, you need to include this, you need to include this, and like in a lot of these colleges, these lefty colleges, and I don't mean that in a derogatory term, they're left-leaning. Like one is called, I think it's Everest College. They were promoting all this, Black Lives Matter stuff, and then all the black people chased all the professors off campus that were white. I can't even describe how silly that whole thing went, but the school's gone downhill since. Because chased off most of the professors, it's insane how that happened. It really is. And then J.K. Rowling, her whole thing with, she supported the trans movement until she became a transphobe for saying that there are biological women and biological men, because the trans people were saying that, hey, you can be trans rights and not take away from women's rights. No, because you're saying that anyone can be a woman now.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
So this is diametrically opposed to that shit you pushing out your mouth.
Correct.
So I have no sympathy for these people when they get canceled, when they get eaten by their own. I have no sympathy.
Yeah, that's so crazy. Yeah, they were very upset. I remember seeing all kind of stuff. They were calling trans. I grew up. Harry Potter was my get away from the world, and to find out J.K. is trans. And it wasn't even that she was just with trans. She didn't even say nothing bad about trans people. She just was highlighting women's issues, and that kind of goes with what I was saying earlier. When I was just talking about John, and he was signing off to all cultures and denominations. But somebody will be mad because you forget one. Like, look, man, I don't know everything that everybody believes in all over the world. I'm not thinking about it every day. Things happen. But for you having opinions or supporting stuff, people will cancel you. Hey, I liked the first 50 Cent CD. Well, yeah, the second one was better. You're canceling. He talked about anything. It's just like any fucking thing for having, like you said, if you dissent in any kind of way, like people are waiting to cancel. Like it used to be trolling, you say something crazy. Now people just want to cancel you for having any kind of fucking thoughts of your own, for being a free fucking thinker. Like, you don't even gotta be a free thinker. Just to be have an opinion, and it's a wrap. Like it's cancel. It's crazy.
That sounds like my history with the black community. Y'all don't like me, man. I mean, in general, black America, because certain things I've said on this show and to other people. I've had friends from college say you ain't shit on Facebook back when I was on Facebook. Because I remember this one time. So I had posted this article about when the riots happened over, I think, Freddie Gray in Baltimore. More of these riots. And I had posted that all the violence and the murders that happened after that. I'm like, is this what we're supposed to be? This doesn't help anything. And then this one dude chimes in, oh man, you a sellout, bro. That ain't what it's about, bro. You don't know what you're talking about. And then deleted me as a friend. I know this guy for like 5 years. You know what? I think he owed me money, so that might be the reason me. I don't know.
Man,
fuck him.
Motherfuckers be emotional, dog. And it's not just women. Like again, like I say, people don't want to try to prove anything. People want to just do shit. So it's like, if I felt like I had a point to prove, instead of deleting somebody, let me hit you. Well, if that's not what it's about, well, let me explain to you what it is about. Instead of doing that, let me just block you and tell you you're wrong. Like, but I can't explain what it is that I believe in myself. It's usually what it is. Everybody else is telling me to do it, so I'm doing it. That's what you got. A lot of people who are followers, and then they see you're not following, they think you're the one that's doing something wrong.
Yeah, that sounds about right. I've accepted it at this point. I mean, I'm not going to fake just to fit in. I tried to do that when I was a kid. Motherfuckers smell your bullshit. Like, man, you ain't a real nigga. Fuck out my face, nigga. All that other shit. So I'm like, why should I try to fit in with people who shun me, abuse me verbally and physically? What is the fucking point? So I'm doing my own thing.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I'm not going to die just to prove a point. Okay. Fuck that.
And
a lot of people are, though.
Yeah, that's which is crazy. Like, again, I don't know. But if people devalue their lives that much, then let them do what they do. I just don't comprehend. Like, it's food and easy money. I agree. Like all westerns are canceled. Like you can't. The westerns are over with because they tried to cancel. They canceled John Wayne. So that was a few months back, or about a year ago or something. So all westerns are canceled now. So you can't even. Westerns are great. I love western movies. You can't do shit nowadays. It's fucking crazy, though. Like, it's so wild. You can't. There's nothing. Nothing is acceptable these days. Like,
and something you mentioned earlier, I meant to bring up the whole thing about instead of creating their own heroes with their own. Actually, some of them have in comic books and video games, and that shit don't sell. This shit's trash because you build them based on their identity instead of a good story.
Correct.
Like, what was it? The Last of Us Part 2? That entire dumpster fire of a fiasco of a game. Because they, through identity politics and killing off characters who people love, just to prove this point. And the only reason that game sold so much the first week is because of the name. Yeah. This shit dropped off 80% of a bunch of countries. After people played this shit, like, yo, this shit trash, bro. Fuck this shit.
Yeah, because there's a bunch of people looking for that. They were like, I heard people talking about that for a long, like that was supposed to be the signature PlayStation game, and people have been talking about it. And Yeah, I've seen a lot of people
Man,
upset.
shit. Okay. Yeah, man. And then they're hiding reviews and banning people on the Twitters, the blue checkmark circle jerk area. That's what I call Twitter. Just a big blue checkmark circle jerk. Everybody just making each other feel better, denying reality, which is dangerous.
Exactly.
It's like if I was to stand in the middle of a highway at night and not expect a car to hit me, that's denying reality.
Exactly.
There's 2 women in Seattle who learned the hard way that you shouldn't do that. One of them's dead now. I mean, I want to feel bad for them. The fact that 2 people are hit by a car is bad. But, you know, there's a thing called the Darwin Awards, where people get an award for getting themselves killed in spectacular ways. I think those 2 are nominees. I'm sorry, or at least that one that died. I'm sorry. I don't understand the logic behind that.
That's what I'm saying, like,
look, R.I.P. to that girl. I'm sorry, you know.
Yeah, but again, like you said, you know, that denying reality, like people think that, you know, because they have this belief or this thought process that you know, that goes on in their head. Like I was talking to somebody the other day, again, like the hardest thing to make people understand or for people to get is that nobody else thinks the way that you think. So when you go out here and you do this abnormal shit thinking that it's going to, you know, generate positive results, you know, there's a rare possibility that it could. But in all likelihood, you're probably going to put yourself in a bad situation. And that's what happens with a lot of these people. They get to believe, they get in those, like I said, those echo chambers, and they think everybody thinks like they think. I'm going to run your ass over. I'm going to tell you, look, whatever you support, like, I'm not here for any other politics. Look, if you're in the way, I got shit to do. Like, I have a schedule, so like, you better move or I'm going to move you. Like, you know, whatever else you're supporting, that's, you know, more power to you, but get the fuck out of my way. So I don't. And then when you see these people getting snatched out of cars and getting beat up and all this other shit. So I wouldn't be surprised. Like I said, I don't know the specifics of the Seattle story, so let me clarify with that. But like you know, I don't blame anybody who don't stop with some of these protesters and some of these things that are going on. Like you got to let them people pass because you don't know how they feeling. You don't know what they're thinking. And again, you may be feeling like you're innocent, you're not doing nothing, but this person could have just left their homeboy house where they didn't just watch 20 videos of people. They're getting snatched out of their car and beat them. They nervous as hell just trying to make it back. You don't know what anybody's like. You don't know what nobody's thinking or nobody's going on. So like people fail to realize that. Like you don't know what the next person just came from dealing with, is on their way to dealing with. And just because you hunky dory or just because you know you feeling like you know this is the most important thing going on, you become too much of an inconvenience for somebody. Well, it may be the last inconvenience you ever become. Like you got to think about the people. Got to think about these things. You know, so.
Mike Tyson said some recently. I don't remember the exact quote, but he said essentially social media got people thinking that you, the kind of shit you'd say online, you would get punched in the mouth for saying in person.
Yeah.
And, you know.
And I'm a firm believer in that too. That's why my Twitter interactions are really weird because, you know, even like I said, I got a sports page and I got another page. Like, but it's just like I handle social media like how I would handle a real conversation. Like if I was talking to you face to face, like how we're talking now, like, and so with me, it's weird. I understand it's a public forum, so everybody has like they get to chime in. But the way I look at it is like, say if me and you were talking and we're in a public place at a fucking eating pizza, or I stand outside or something, and somebody just walks up and joins the company. It's public, yeah. You know, you can. It's not illegal, but it's probably not recommended. And so I get super annoyed when people do shit like this. It's like, man, if you were standing next to me, I'd knock your shit fucking loose. Like it bothers me the way people are. But again, like there's no consequences for saying a lot of shit you say and doing a lot of shit you do. So it becomes normal, especially in this generation that's grown up like that. You know, so it's like, but it's still some motherfuckers out there that'll fuck you off, like for talking crazy. And I think you catch those motherfuckers every now and then who forget where that line of reality and virtual reality ends, and you know they end up on the wrong side of a punch.
It's like these Facebook beasts that turn into murders. Mm-hmm. And to kind of switch the subject for a moment, speaking of murders, all these murders that have occurred the past few weeks during these riots, it's insane. Mm-hmm. I don't want to get into this, but Louis mentioned about the white woman who was murdered for saying all lives matter. Mm-hmm. I don't know how to understand why that happened. This is extremely irrational behavior for any society. RIP to that woman, RIP to those kids. There's a 1-year-old got killed, and it's some sort of drive-by during a family cookout. 4 people got shot. I posted in Discord about the insane amount of murders in New York alone, shootings and murders. So John from New York, shout out, be safe. This is insane, bro. I don't know what to say because I'll take up the rest of your night talking about this shit. So I can't really get into that right now because I don't want to hog the line. And I'm about to hang up, matter of fact. Look, bro, these Twitter people, it's all these Twitter circle jerkers, man. They prop up these things. It gets a lot of buzz online. They're doing all this for this specific identity, a group of people, whatever. And then when the shit ends up on like publication, on TV, or in the movie theaters, no one watches it. Sure. That's why Birds of Prey sucked, because it painted towards feminist women. That shit bombed. Terminator Dark Fate bombed. A lot of these Star Trek movies bombed. Star Wars some of the reshoots, because they fucked up the second movie, bombed. It's all bombs, bro. It's like I'm back on the carrier on my deployment, none but bombs. Yeah, prepare. Yeah, democratic cities are running down the drain, bro. This shit's getting bad, bro. But that's all I gotta say on that note. Shout out to the den, man. Y'all be safe, especially y'all New Yorkers up there, man. Matter of fact, New York, San Diego, San Francisco, Birmingham, Atlanta. I mean Wakanda. Just everywhere. Just be safe, man.
God damn, that's Wakanda. Woo! Hate to see Black Panther Part 2. All right, Mr. Dan, man, with the plan. I appreciate your comment. I agree. We're going to have to talk about that real soon, though, because there has been like an absurd amount of, we can call it collateral damage to these protests, to these movements, or whatever you want to call them. And these people need to be, acknowledged, mentioned, and discussed also. That's the least of it. We're talking about all this other craziness and stupidness. So we'll talk about that soon, because I know there's a lot going on with this. So we'll definitely have that conversation real soon. Try to do it this week.
Well, you know who won't talk about it? And that's the last thing I'm going to say. Don Lemon. It's not an issue to that dude, man.
Dapper Don.
Dapper Don. That's all, man. Y'all have a good night, man. I'm done.
All right, Mr. Dan, I appreciate the call, sir. You have a good evening.
All right, take care.
All right. Woo! The crazy world. What's the motherfucking deal? Who we got calling into the den this evening?
Brother Honcho.
Little bro, what's the motherfucking deal, man? How you been?
How you been, bro? I'm good. How you?
Oh, good. No complaints, sir. No complaints, man. Enjoying life. What's on your mind this evening, though, man?
Say that one more time?
I was saying, what's on your mind this evening?
I just was calling in to check on you. I got something brewing. I'm gonna start my own platform by the end of the month.
Okay.
So me and you can collab on a couple of things if you're willing to.
Absolutely. Always willing to collaborate. Always.
I know you're doing a show on cancel culture, man. I don't think. Listen, from my standpoint, I don't think that it'll work. Number one, because I don't think people are that tolerant. To kind of like, I mean, you can get Hollywood to probably, promote it and stuff like that, but the general public, no. Especially not brothers, from the street.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. They definitely not dealing with that. And the whole, you're not going to get black people to conform to a transgender society. It just ain't going to happen. I don't care how many Dwayne Wades they roll out. It's just not going to happen. First of all, it's a mental illness to, anyway, if you look at the actual statistics, transgenders kill them. They have like the highest suicide rate in the country. So, and by them promoting this, okay, they're already killing us with abortion. Okay? So now you're going to promote transgenderism in the black community. So you're killing us there too. And we can't win.
Correct. And if you say something, then you're the bad guy. That's the wild part about it. What do you think is behind the whole D-Wade thing that you mentioned that? Do you think, this is something that's always kind of been like that, or do you think that it's something, since Gabby's been there, or like what do you think about that whole situation? Because it seems odd.
If you know anything about the occult, obviously Dwayne Wade is part of the Grand Boule. So basically, in order to get into the Grand Boule, you got to get butt broken. Okay. So for all that time, everybody was calling Chris Bosh gay, and Dwayne Wade was over there fooling everybody. So it's a promotion tool. I got 2 sons, man. Ain't no way in hell, and one of them is close to Zaire's age. I think that's his name, or Zion, or whatever they want to call him. Ain't no way in hell my son could come and tell me he feel like he a girl. And I'm gonna sit there and promote that shit.
Correct.
I think that Gabrielle Union does have a lot to do with it. She's a demon. She's a demon. She's definitely a witch. Okay? A lot of these marriages in Hollywood these people are put together. These are like fixed marriages. I believe Alicia Keys and Swiss Beats is a fixed marriage. I also believe Will Smith and Jada Pinkett was a fixed marriage, because if you listen to Will Smith on Father's Day when he was at the red table, he said he should have never left. His biggest mistake was leaving his first wife.
I didn't even catch that.
Okay. Yeah. And then days later, here comes August Alsina, whatever, talking about Jada. So Will Smith was up against the odds anyway with Jada Pinkett. Number one, what is Jada Pinkett really known for? Set it off?
Yeah.
She was terrible on Different Worlds. I mean, she just was a chick with an attitude. Anybody can play that character.
Yeah. I kind of believe what you said, because I was reading some stuff and they were talking about Jada and some folks who were familiar with her in high school, and they said she was kind of weird. Like, she was one of those, dressing all black all the time. They said that she was like into some pansexual shit, and then she was a part of this kind of little odd group called the Children. So again, like I said, I can't sit here and say, 100% I know this is fact, but allegedly from some people who apparently went to school with her, were raised up with her.
That's how they get you. That's how they get you in school. If they don't get you in high school, they're gonna get you in college. Yeah. So a lot of these people that go into sororities, I have an uncle who's a Prince Hall Mason. Okay, and if you understand Freemasonry, Lucifer is the god of Freemasonry. Okay. My uncle is a 32nd degree Mason. Blacks don't get to be 33rd degree Masons. Okay. He's older, obviously. For me to tell him this now, he's like, get the hell out of here. But it's the truth. I show him the information, and he kind of backed off going to the meetings and stuff after that, because these people, a lot of people that are lower level, they're not taught this stuff. So I do believe that she was part of a group. You have to be, in order to be a star, whether it be an athlete, an actress, a musician, you have to be in that club in order for them to promote. They won't let you be, or they'll kill your family off. I mean, you don't think, look at Jennifer Hudson. You don't think that whole story about the brother-in-law going crazy and killing the mother and brother, you really think that's the truth of that situation?
It's a very, very odd one.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And then after that, she became a star. A real star, if you want to say that. She started to get more promotions, business opportunities. But I think a lot of them get involved in this stuff, and then they realize what it is, and they don't want to be a part of it. Look at Michael Basin. Michael Basin was huge. He didn't want to take the last step, so what they do? They cut him off. Now he's barely relevant. So, I don't hate anybody. I'm a heterosexual male, and I feel like it's an attack on us.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I don't want to run around telling that, I like, I'm in love with women. I don't run around telling that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't care about who you sleep with. That should not be the first thing that I have to know about you or somehow get you over the hump. Me and my cousin had this conversation the other day. I said, look, man, I don't believe a gay man should have more rights than I do. What rights do they have what rights do I have that they don't have? They used to couldn't get married, okay. So they switched it up, even though that's against the natural laws of the universe. Okay? So now you gave them free reign to get married, to get married, and now you have now all you see all this is LGBTQ stuff, and then the Black Lives Matter with the transgender. See, I live on the East Coast, so I see a lot of this stuff in New York, and New York is like ultra liberal, ultra liberal. You ever been to New York?
No, never been. I had had a trip planned one time, but I happened to miss my flight, and some shit ended up shaking up. So I've never been. Nah, never. I haven't been out there.
Brother, I live about 20, maybe 15 minutes away from New York. You don't want to go over there. It's Babylon. Especially now, since all of the riots and stuff. I mean, they destroyed Harlem and Midtown. Stores, all of the Gucci stores, the Louis Vuitton stores, all of the Rolex, any kind of jewelry stores, they all gone. Yeah. So they had a Black Lives Matter march in New York, and then come to find out it was a trans Black Lives Matter march. I just can't stand up for that stuff, man. I'm not, you're not going to sit up here and tell me you used to be a man and now you're a woman. No, you're still a man. So, there was a brother, 18-year-old brother, I don't know if you read the story, in Chicago. He was 18, okay? He slept with a woman that was 38 years old. Now, if me or you slept with an 18-year-old, we might go to jail.
Yeah, they're gonna talk about you.
Okay. Yeah, we might go to jail, but she told him he was I'm a transgender. He killed her.
Yeah.
Okay, and then the news tried to make it seem like it was an attack on transgenders. I'm like, that's rape.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean it is. It's at the very least some form of sexual assault. Because if you are deceiving me into, participating in any kind of sexual engagement with you, but I'm not, knowing truthfully what's going on, you've assaulted me. You know what I'm saying? Like
you did it. You did it in the wrong city anyway. These brothers is quick to blast in Chicago. He shot her and then left and came back and shot her again to make sure she was dead.
Yeah.
Because he said he couldn't get that vision out of his head.
Yeah.
So now you got a brother that ain't even graduated from high school yet. He about to do time because this chick lied, or man, or whatever you want to call him, lied to him, okay, slept with him, and he's probably scarred.
Yeah.
So what about the heterosexual males? You know what I'm saying? Like, I think that we the ones that actually make that. We bring the kids into the world.
Correct.
So what about us?
They want the black man out. Unless you're gonna be a breeder, they don't want you, to be masculine. They don't want any form of aggression. They don't even want perceived aggression, or, they just really trying to make it to where it seems like black men are a moot point. Like it's almost because you got the whole left thing where they're defending anybody and everybody that's basically not white or a white man or whatever, but yet the black man is still almost viewed, well, you're still a man, you're still a straight, well, the straight black man is still viewed almost as bad, in some circles as the white man. And so they just look at it, well, you're still a man, you're just a step down from whatever that is. So again, it's like You're right. What right do I get? What benefits are there really as a straight black man? There's no, you don't get any special treatment. You know, we can talk about all this other stuff. Even the Black Lives Matter, which they use the deaths of the straight black men, it ain't even about them. It's just about gays and ruining the family and everything else.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the actual mission statement from the Black Lives Matter website, they're against the patriarchy.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, they don't want the man involved. If you look at the picture they put, I think it was Time Magazine, where they had the black girl and then the little black boy, because that's what they look at black men as, little black boys.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, they, that's how they promote this stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like, and let me tell you, I'm not following no female. Okay, I'm not following a female because I understand females deal with emotion. Okay, and when you're an emotional thinker, you're dangerous. Okay, how many females? My daddy always told me that would try to figure a female out because that should have drive you crazy. So why would I sit here and follow a female? And this is no disrespect to the ladies, but it is what it is. Women wake up sometimes, they have an attitude out of nowhere. You know, mood swings. If any of you men ever live with a woman, sometimes you gotta tippy toe and test the temperature before you even say good morning.
Yeah, it'd be like that sometimes.
So, I just if you want to cancel something, let's cancel this bullshit because first of all, they're attacking our youth, our kids, okay, with this stuff. They got SpongeBob talking about he's transgender, but they don't know what gender he is yet. Like, come on, man. He's a cartoon.
Correct.
Now you gonna make me block Nickelodeon from my kids watching Nickelodeon. Okay? I already blocked them from Disney. Now you gonna make me block them from Nickelodeon too. So, all of this pedophilia stuff that they trying to push, because that's actually what the overall that's the overall agenda. The push for pedophilia, to sexualize the children. Okay, well, you should not be sexualizing young children before they're even. In Jersey, we got Governor Murphy, who's an idiot. Okay, and let me tell you, when his election come around, I'm gonna be the biggest mouth on him. Okay, the biggest mouth. He just signed a law maybe last year, that he wants to bring LGBT studies into the schools. Man,
I've been seeing that shit floating around, and it's crazy how people respond to that type of shit. Like the LGBT gay history or something like that. I'm not. I don't even know what that means, honestly. Like I don't. Again, it is what it is. But yeah, I see that a lot of that is trending. And again, like I get it, but I don't understand what gay history really is. Like I don't understand.
There is no gay history. Like, who cares about that stuff? Like, come on, man. We don't care about who you sleep with. If you meet somebody on the street, you're not going to ask them, what do you prefer? You know what I'm saying? Like, male or female. I mean, who cares about who you sleep with at the end of the day? As long as you're a person that's productive and you have a good heart and you're not trying to hurt nobody, at the end of the day, you all right with me whether you be gay or not.
Exactly.
But you're not going to sit up here and push me to. I can support you, but I don't have to. Understand or comply to what you want me to believe. Because that's almost like you're trying to push me. You're trying to injure. You're trying to mentally engineer my mind to believe in something that I don't believe in.
Correct. And they're doing a very persistent job, to try to get people to start signing on to that type of stuff.
Yeah. I heard John talking about him, trying to do something, and he didn't want to get doxxed. If I was John, I wouldn't even worry about it, man. I would just hide as much information on the as far as the internet goes, what I'm saying, like your Facebook pages or whatever, or your whatever platforms you on don't have your real name on them or whatever, and do your thing, man. Because at the end of the day, if you are scared, you're just gonna allow this stuff to go on. We need opposite opinions. Okay, we need to create a force against this stuff, because if we just keep saying, well, we don't want to talk about it because we don't want to be canceled or we don't want to be censored, because YouTube is going to censor us regardless.
Correct.
Okay, they're going to censor. They're already censoring people. I mean, this stuff started 2 years ago when they did it to Alex Jones.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, he told everybody he was the test. Okay, nobody believed him. Nobody stood up for him.
Mm-hmm.
So now that everybody's getting kicked off of platforms, like, I mean, it's a brother that I watch. He has a channel called Black Male Advice.
Mm-hmm.
I think his name is Rango. He actually went to Patreon, man. He said, I'm not staying on YouTube. He does his live streams on YouTube, but then he takes them down and puts them on Patreon.
No, okay.
You know? So we gotta, as men with a code, we gotta stand up against this stuff, man. I see black females are very dangerous, man. They into this whole LGBTQ stuff, because I remember seeing on my Facebook feed a lot of females that I went to school with talking about how cute it was. He wanted to be a little girl, and these are females with boys.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I'm like, this shit ain't cute.
Yeah, that's the and I think that's the biggest part of it is, like I say, because when the black woman accepts it, then not really realizing how much damage it's doing to her more than, like, if any demographic in the world is suffering from it, it's the black woman. Because again, you talk about all the good black men in jail, or the ones that are married you don't have access to. Well, if you got a bunch of them and you're encouraging them to become women or something, well, that's also more men that are out of the dating pool. And then they complain ain't enough men, so they like, fuck it, well, I'm gonna start dyking or something. And then now you got motherfuckers all confused just for wanting to be with somebody or whatever the fuck it may be. Like I say, and again, like, to not sound like, oh, we're just showing all gay or nothing like it. You can't find it, like, you can't make it a fad. You can't make it like it's a cool thing, or it's neat. Oh, well, everybody else got gay kids, I want some gay kids. Like, that's almost like what it seems like is going on, and you're not realizing, like I say, how much detriment it's really doing to them.
Yeah, it's definitely destroying our community. This push for this, and truth be known, most black people are conservative, even if they don't know it. If they really understood, a lot of people don't really understand what the Luciferian agenda is throughout the world. When you push stuff like this is against the code. This is against God, the Most High's code, man. This is against his code. He created man and woman. He didn't tell you can transition, you can switch up from what he wanted you to be. So what you're doing is actually condemning your children to hell. And I'm not no big-time religious buff, but I know right from right. Right is right and wrong is wrong all around the world.
Correct.
I got two daughters. They're in it. One is 20, the other one is 21. I tell them all the time, it's going to be very hard for you to find a real man out here, man. It's going to be really hard for you, because a lot of these brothers are, first of all, they're not alpha males. A lot of these brothers are beta males, okay? They have no backbone, so they ain't going to stand up for themselves. They damn sure ain't going to stand up for you. And then some of them want to wear your clothes.
Goddamn. It ain't no lie. Yeah.
When I used to go pick them up from school, I used to be like, damn, these brothers look weird, man. They look weird. You will never catch me in no funny looking. First of all, I'm from an era where we used to laugh at people like that. You know what I'm saying? As simple as talking about cancel culture. These things are not. The problem is with the liberal is they try to push things in society that has never worked. Okay, there's a reason why homosexuality is not promoted in Africa or in the Middle East. Okay, they don't believe in that stuff. Okay, because it's against. They understand it's against God's code. And I'm not saying listen again. I'm not against people being gay. If that's what you want to be, then that's what you want to be. But I'm just telling you the truth. The stuff is not promoted throughout. It's only promoted in Western civilization. It's not promoted throughout the world. So if you think that, for the average black man, so-called black man that thinks he's going to be gay, try taking that to Africa and see how you turn out.
They ran Obama out of there with this shit.
They're going to run you up out of there.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of us got to wake up, man. And like I said, John, man, don't be scared. If you're listening, don't be scared to get on the channel and try to do your thing. And I'm pretty sure, people will support. Because like I said, it's a lot of people that don't believe in this stuff, man.
Correct.
They try to make it seem like everybody's just all for it, and everybody's not. They would never interview me or you, because we would tell them the truth.
Exactly, and that's the thing. And it's crazy how afraid people are of the truth, how much people want to shun the truth. They'd rather, feel good than know the facts. And they'd rather feel good, know they killing themselves or deteriorating inside or ruining themselves, happy in the moment. But in the long run, it's a detriment. And so again, like I say, but they'd rather, feel good in the moment than really, try to fix the problem or whatever it may be, knowing the truth of it. So it's wild.
Hey, did you see that Breakfast Club interview with Angela Stanton?
No, I didn't see. Somebody sent it to me, and I didn't get a chance to watch it. No, I hadn't watched it.
Oh my God, man! Let me tell you. Okay. First of all, Angela Yee has no kids. Okay.
Yeah.
But she promotes abortion and turning kids into transgenders.
Wow.
Okay. You don't mind you, she has no children, so really she shouldn't have no say so about kids. Period. Okay. If you don't have no kids, don't talk about kids. And she was like, I think kids should be happy. Well, let me tell you something. I don't want to call it a B word online, but anybody that knows my parents always taught me when I was a young kid, they was like, when you find out what real life is going to be, it ain't going to be as fun as you think it is. Okay? We all know as grown-ass adults that life is not fair. Okay? And life is not fun. Once you get a certain age, the world is cold. Okay? Don't nobody care about you but your mama and your daddy. And if your daddy is around.
Yeah.
Okay? So when you you're lying to children. You're basically lying to them. Instead of preparing them for the real world, you're basically lying to them. And what you're creating is that's why we got so many snowflakes running around. I'm not into this whole new age stuff. You can call me old school. I'm in my early 40s. But where I come from, we don't believe in this type of stuff, man. We just don't get down with it. No. I'm not into I'm not into rubbing up on men and all of that. That's just, we as brothers gotta put our foot down, man, and say we're not dealing with this shit no more, man. We're not dealing with it.
I agree.
You should watch that Breakfast Club interview because you would be appalled.
No, I'm gonna check it out because like somebody told me because I've been hearing a lot about Angela Stanton. I've seen a little bit of her what she talks about, so I know she's legit. So I definitely want to check that out though. I'm gonna definitely watch.
And I know DJ Envy from going to the club back in the day. Okay, he used to DJ at a club I used to frequent every week. So I know him personally. Okay, he always been kind of like suspect to me.
Yeah. Oh, hold on. Give me 1 second, man. I don't mean to. Hold on, just one moment.
Huh? No, it's all right.
Okay. But yeah, no, I definitely agree with you, man. Like it's just different, and they're changing the thing. But you were saying that you remember Envy from back in the day at the club, that he was kind of a questionable character.
Yeah, he always to me was like, I don't want to say feminine, but it's kind of like that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like he was kind of like, and it's kind of disgusting to me because I'm a light skinned brother like he is. Mm-hmm. You know, and a lot of light skinned men get a hard rap. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? But I'm different from him. And I always looked at him, and the stuff that he was saying during that interview, I was like, this man is talking about women's rights. You ain't no woman. You shouldn't even be having this conversation. Let them two battle it out. Why are you? I think that women should have the right to choose. Not when women are 7% of the 7% of the population, and they account for 46% of the abortions in the country. I'm talking about black women. Mm-hmm. Okay, and 7% of the population. Some of the women are old, so you're talking about maybe 3 or 4% of the population. Mm-hmm. Okay, so you're talking about the right to choose. Meanwhile, we didn't abort it. I think since Roe versus Wade, we didn't aborted 64 million kids.
That's crazy.
In county. Okay, but we keep talking about we want power and we want economical stability, but meanwhile we're killing off our children. And then if you look at all of the Planned Parenthoods, they're all in the hood. Mm-hmm. They're not putting them up in suburban USA. Mm-hmm. So I just think that, I get a lot of flack, from people because I got a friend that's junior minister to Farrakhan. Mm-hmm. And, he was like, you hate your people. I said, no, I don't hate my people. I hate the mind frame of my people, brother. Mm-hmm. It's not about hating my people. Okay, I said, we got too many simps and too many clowns in front of the real people, real brothers and real sisters. We got too many of them around us. So, I mean, we might be the last of a dying breed, but I ain't going out like no suckers. Yeah. I'm definitely not doing that. So, but like I told you, man, I've been working on my platform, and I got some artwork up. I got all my equipment together. I'm just like testing and trying to figure stuff out because I think you use Streamlabs?
Yeah, you Streamlabs, yeah.
How you like it?
Oh, it's pretty cool. I've been using it, for the most part, stuff is streaming. Are you talking about as far as like the streaming software, or using it as like the monetization of the alerts and things? Because you can kind of mix and match it.
The interface.
Yeah. Honestly, it's cool using the Streamlabs OBS. I kind of like the original OBS a little bit better. There's some pluses about Streamlabs, and then there's some pluses about the regular OBS. So like I got a sports channel, I use regular OBS for that, the regular one, and I use Streamlabs for the Den because it has just some different features that are more suitable for the Den.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, I was looking at Streamlabs and I was looking at, I think, Cant.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Oh, Cant.
Yeah, I looked at Cant too, so I'm just I'm actually, fumbling my way through both, figuring out the interfaces and stuff. Mm-hmm. And I'm gonna do, because I do graphic art design. Okay. So I'm gonna put together a couple of documentaries, also. So, but you should start covering stuff like that Angela Stanton interview and getting the idea of the audience and how they see stuff, man, because that was a big interview. Yeah. That's if you look on that page, that interview has the most views of any of their videos within the last 2 or 3 months.
Yeah.
Because it was because they first of all they were very belligerent, especially Angela. I wanted to I don't hit women, but I wanted to hit her.
Yeah. But you notice they do that anytime somebody comes on talking some sense though. Like anytime somebody comes on there trying to really say something sensible. If it's some tomfoolery, some bullshit, yeah, they all with it. But I remember the reason I stopped fucking with the Breakfast Club was some years back when Dame came on there. And Dame was just like, man, everybody can get it. They, you know, do whatever. Oh, well, you sold drugs, or you did this, and then it seemed like Envy, like you mentioned, Envy almost was broad, like, because he seemed like a jealous female trying to compete with everything. Well, you know, I do this too, and I do. It's just like, then when he said, you know, everybody can, you know, get a hustle. Everybody, oh no, everybody can't. It's like y'all sitting here disagreeing with everything that this man said, but then, you know, a year or so later, Gary Vee come on there, and I fucked with Gary Vee before that too, basically saying the same shit. And it's y'all eating all this shit up, and like that's when I realized, like, yeah, these motherfuckers some real clowns. Though. I can't really rock with the Breakfast Club too much.
Well, they tried to sandbag her, man, because they, first of all, they knew she was a Trump supporter. Mm-hmm. They tried to make the whole interview about Trump. Yeah. She didn't even get a chance to talk about her campaign. Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah. But if you know anything about her, first of all, she did some time in prison. Mm-hmm. She got a full pardon by the president, and she is also the, I think, goddaughter of Martin Luther King's niece. Okay, so when I tell you she spoke so intelligent, and she broke all three of them down. Charlemagne was kind of quiet because he already knew she was telling the truth, but he couldn't say it because it goes against what his Jewish owners or the owners of their radio station. It goes against what they're really trying to promote. You know, they're trying to promote liberalism, obviously. You know, but what they're doing is they're lying to their audience, man. Yeah. And we got too many people that's dishonest on YouTube. We got too many people that's dishonest in the media. You know, and these people have to be called out, and they don't like it when you call them out. They have to be called out, though. You know, we can't let these people do it, because everybody keeps quiet. It's just going to get worse. Yeah. You know, it's just going to get worse. They want to cancel you for every little thing that you say or do, just because you got to. I might disagree with you on this. Disagree. I see a lot of white liberals talking about Black Lives Matter, but if you disagree with them ask them about abortion. They're going to tell you, they're going to damn near chop your head off. Mm-hmm. Yeah. You know, so I get on my brothers that live in Republican states, Texas, Florida. I said, you guys vote Democrat. Meanwhile, you got the lowest taxes. Mm-hmm. Some of your states don't have a state income tax. Correct. Your gun laws are awesome. Okay, you could basically get your hand on any firearm you want. Mm-hmm. Your car insurance is lower. Try coming over here. Okay, and paying $14,000 a year in property taxes. Okay, try doing that. When you're in the state where you might pay $2,000 or $3,000 a year.
I see. Yep. I don't even want to think about no shit like that. Yeah, that's. And that's the thing too. That's what kills me. It's like you said. You know, there's so many benefits, so many advantages that, you know, we do take, we enjoy every day, but yet for some reason, you know, you continue to vote against your best interest, which just it makes no sense to me. Like I don't know.
Yeah, because they're so stuck on social justice, they're not really thinking about longevity as far as economical wealth. Mm-hmm. I would like to keep a lot of my money. You know what I'm saying? There's things that I'm getting out of New Jersey because I can't really take it no more. Hmm. You know, my plan is to actually, my first plan was to move to Texas. Mm-hmm. But I said I need to be closer. I got a lot of family in the South, like in North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia. And, you know, I said, okay, I'll move to Tennessee. Mm-hmm. That way I'm close, but I'm not too close. Yeah. You know, I got a cousin. I got a phone call from my mother last night. One of my cousins got shot and killed in Greensboro, North Carolina last night.
Damn, okay? I'm sorry to hear that.
Thank you. 27 years old. The kid that shot and killed him was 18. Okay? And my aunt is so pissed because she's saying, where's Black Lives Matter? Because she was all about Black Lives Matter at first. But she was like, where's Black Lives Matter? I said, oh, now it hit home. Look at all these little kids that got killed. Did you see all these little kids that got killed in the last 2 weeks?
It's been crazy, ridiculous, but nobody wants to talk about it.
Yeah, it was a 1-year-old in Brooklyn. Sunday night got killed at a cookout. But you don't see them marching for that.
Mm-hmm.
So, like I said, man, we got to start calling out these people, man. We got to start calling them out. You know, they're gonna try to cancel us. But that's their only method. That's the only method. That's why the Democrats are at the point where they can't beat Trump, so they're like, we're just gonna burn the damn country down.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay? That's where they're at with it. They're like, just burn it down. We're just gonna burn it down, and if we can't, you know, because I believe a lot of them are going to jail.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? I believe a lot of them are going to jail. So this is their way of saying, okay, we're just gonna let everything burn down, and whatever comes out of it comes out of it.
Mm-hmm.
But meanwhile, you're destroying the citizen.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so like I said, bro, we gotta stick together and call these people out on their bullshit. Mm-hmm. I'm not scared.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I tell people all the time, because I get some hate on my Facebook page or whatever, but you better not approach me on no bullshit. Okay?
Straight up.
You better not approach me on no bullshit. I tell brothers that all the time. You could disagree with me. You want to have a intellectual conversation, we could do that. But trying to, I had somebody try to threaten me. I said, man, you don't even know me, bro.
No.
You know what I'm saying? You don't even know what kind of person I am. But I can tell you this, I'm a family man, and if you violate my space, it's not going to turn out well for you. You might as well start picking your suit out.
Hmm.
You know?
Yes.
So, we going to catch some flack, man.
Yeah.
But it is what it is.
I think if you're not ruffling a few feathers, if you ain't upsetting some people, you're not gonna get anything changed. It's not gonna. It's as long as people are comfortable, they have no incentive to change. So yeah, you're gonna have to crack a few eggs on the way. So I'm definitely, like I said, I definitely agree. Like something does have to be said. Especially at a time like this, because I think this is a real pivotal time. With elections coming up, just all the turmoil that's going on. But I think people are waking up, but I don't know if they're waking up in the right direction. You know what I mean? They're rolling out the wrong side of the bed.
I think that I see people waking up on, I see a lot of, actually I've been following the Walk Away campaign. I follow Brexit. Mm-hmm. I think a lot of people are waking up. Mm-hmm. The problem is they don't want you to believe that. They want you to believe that people, see, the media is only going to promote what's for their agenda. Mm-hmm. They're not going to promote anything against their agenda.
Correct.
Okay, so they're not going to show you the people that disagree with them and how they get screamed on when they're in the general public. Okay, I tell anybody, if you get all of your information from the mainstream media, you're lost at the source. Okay, you're lost. I've seen Tommy Sotomayor arguing with a brother named Jabari. And it reminded me of an argument I had with a joker maybe about 2 or 3 months ago. And he kept giving me all of this information from like the Washington Post and the New York Times. I said, man, that's not real information, brother. No. And they make everything about Trump. Damn, you would have thought that Trump was like been president for 400 years or something, man. Mm-hmm. These people are crazy. And listen, you could not like Trump, but if you're so-called righteous, you stand for what's right. You could dislike Trump all you want, but you don't be a liar. A lot of these people are liars. And you're doing that but feeding your own insanity. Don't get me wrong, Trump do some crazy stuff. You know what I'm saying? But I like it, though. You know why I like it? Because it goes against the status quo.
Mm-hmm.
I got tired of seeing Obama, everybody licking his boots, and I'm like, this guy is fooling everybody. Everybody. You know, I get people that go at me so hard, and I'm like, Obama. I said, man, tell me one thing that about Obama's presidency that was so great. Because in 2015, do you know more black men were killed by law enforcement than the Ku Klux Klan the Ku Klux Klan killed during the Jim Crow era? In 2015, 1 year. So all of this whole thing that they were cooking up, then the guy that was arguing with Tommy Sotomayor was saying, well, there's no information that George Soros funds Black Lives Matter. Bro, it's all over the place. What are you talking about? The dishonesty, man. And you got people, and thank God, when I look at these people's YouTube pages, they don't have a lot of followers.
Let's see if I can. That was not deliberate. Y'all know what happened, so I apologize. Shout out to Bill Bird that the line that cut off there. But what we're probably gonna do after that, probably get ready to wind it down. We're a little bit over the time limit, but here's the deal. We're gonna have to continue that conversation because it's a couple of things I jotted down that we're gonna get into. But like I said, we're gonna have a conversation soon this week about a couple of things. But yeah, we're gonna get ready to wind it down, and we'll be back at it tomorrow, same day and time. Tomorrow should be a good show. Hopefully, if everything is as everything should be, tomorrow will be very interesting. But yeah, make sure you follow the proper social media. Den Show Live on Facebook, Ed Honcho HTX on Instagram and Twitter. I gotta figure out what's up with this thing because I like the fact that it randomly cuts off like that because this has been a problem. Not just it was cutting off real talk like every fucking call. So I gotta figure out what's going on with that because that's unacceptable. Let me see. I feel like I'm forgetting something. I did say I was going to replay that video in the Discord. Maybe. I guess I should do that tonight. If I didn't delete it. So let me check that first. But this is what we're going to do. Like I said, we'll slide to Discord after this. Y'all know how it goes. Y'all ain't got to go home. I'm inviting y'all to the Discord. I'll put the link into the chat after the stream is over with. I mean, it'll be right there, so you'll be able to see it. But with that being said, we're gonna wrap it up. I'm talking about Deuce. I appreciate y'all. You know what I'm saying? Y'all be cool like y'all be cool. But like I said, y'all ain't got to go home. But y'all do gotta get the fuck up out of here. Until next time, I'm out.